You are about to witness history in the making.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the Pop Culture Gamers podcast. This is show number 117. It is Sunday, the 9th of May, and we have a full house today. We have Steve, who's back from being ill. And we've had welcome, Steve, and Mark. Happy birthday, Mark, for last week.
Hey, thank you. Thank you very much. Good to be here.
So we've got quite a full show with some big games out in the last couple of weeks as well to talk about. So we'll talk about those later on. So, Steve, do you want to tell us what's been going on with yourself?
Personally, not a lot. It's going to probably bore you stupid, so I'm going to skip all that. Other than that, I've been until, 2 nights ago, was it, when it came out? Probably. I think it is. I've just been playing with my balls.
Yes, I noticed that you were playing with your balls.
Snooker ball, football, and baseball.
Nice.
Yeah, really wish I hadn't had the webcam on.
Rude.
Hey, yeah, that cost you $5. So I've been doing my best to play some games, even though it's been a bit difficult. So Snooker 19, which none of you've probably ever played, so it's a bit of that, and a bit more FIFA, which is now on Game Pass, and MLB The Show. I have got no notes for that because I'm going to let Mark do the talking, and I should just join in on that one.
I have plenty of notes for that.
Good, that's what I thought. Other than that, what have I been up to? So Waxworks sent me my Spinnacher, which Haydn said, "What the heck is that?" But basically, it's a die-cast model of Michael Myers. And he sits on the turntable and goes around in circles. Pretty cool.
Wow.
You've seen it, Mark. I think you've seen it, Mark, on Instagram, haven't you? Did you look?
Yeah, I think I did see it earlier today, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it today?
Maybe.
Yes. I don't know.
The other day.
Yesterday, maybe.
So they're pretty cool. I mean, it's funny because that got posted before my next part of my subscription. No, my subscription got posted first. But somehow this has turned up beforehand. I think it's because it's come from Germany, where my next vinyl in my subscription with them and my hoodie that I'm coming. I think it's coming from America, hence the difference. But that to look forward to. What else have I been doing? Watching the odd movie or two. One for this week, which is a film from 1977, and it's not Star Wars. So about that later. And yeah, just pre-ordered some vinyl of late, using Discogs actually, because they're really good to pick up old pressings. So you can pick them up for £7 or £8, which is quite good. Little bits and bobs that I was after. Other than that, I think that's about it. I think I'm going to be quick, as it's taken so long to get to where we are this evening. So I thought we'd move swiftly on. Hey,
why not? Sorry, guys.
All right. Don't you worry.
Yeah, you just had a mogwai, didn't you? That's what it was.
Something going on there, yeah.
So, Mark, what's been happening in your life?
This week, I've been doing, not obviously, but I'm furloughed again as a chef. So I've been helping a mate out who's a landscape gardener, like proper serious landscape gardening, totally remodel your garden if you want him to, which has been really physical, but quite enjoyed it. It's nice to be outside. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. We went last weekend. We went back to the Weald and Downland again because they had a May Day weekend. Normally in pre-pandemic, these weekends that they hold would have been heaving. Especially as it was a relatively dry day. They would have been very busy indeed. But with lots of stalls and food sellers of various kinds, kind of street foodie sort of vibe. But sadly this year, obviously not much of that happening. They still had a few events and things going on, and they do kind of historic cooking demonstrations and that kind of thing, how they would have cooked maybe in the 15th, 16th century. that kind of thing, which is quite, I find, as a chef, quite interesting. And obviously I'm another year older since I was last on the show. So, but other than that, that's taken up most of my time. I did have my COVID jab this week as well, which was...
How'd that go? Was it painless?
Well, it was my second one.
Oh, okay.
The first one, I was quite rough for a couple of days. I was totally knocked me out, and in bed for a couple of days, stinking headache, real shivers, and chills. And this time round, thankfully, I didn't have that. I felt a bit kind of hungover, really, I suppose.
What one?
But not bad at all.
What one did you have for the jab? What type was it?
I had the AstraZeneca. Yeah, that was what I had. So
because I saw the news last night and they were talking about that, saying about the blood clots and everything.
Yeah.
And I was tidying up this place in here today, and I was going through my paperwork, and I found my sheet and my card for the first jab.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit concerned due to my blood clots I've got on my lungs, and apparently that's what I've had.
Well, the AstraZeneca.
Yeah, and so I'm a little bit concerned. I don't think there's much I can do about it now because I've had the first jab, but yeah.
So you'll have that. I think you have to have the second one the same as the first as well.
You do.
So
you can't mix and match like a cocktail.
No. So I mean, from what I'm seeing, I'm obviously not in as susceptible a position as you are, but
no.
I think a lot of it is just kind of scaremongering in the press. If you actually look at the stats compared to other conditions and things.
Does the press actually do anything other than scaremonger?
Well, it's all clickbait and stuff anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I was watching the news, so it was the BBC News I was watching, and they were telling you about the age. They didn't actually mention our age, but they were telling about the younger, 1 in 4 can have blood clots or something in that. So I thought, typical. I've already got them. I don't want any more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think you just have to sort of keep it real a bit and be a bit rational about it.
Funny, what made it worse was that my wife was talking to a surgery the other day, and we were just talking about how I was treated to get to what I got for treatment. And when the doctor I'm just going over a bit of old ground, I'm not sure if I mentioned it before, but when the doctor said, can you just make a phone call and book your appointment? But then when we read the letter in full, about a day later, it said we need to go now. So my wife's surgery, where she works, they said basically I've dodged a bullet because I could have died. Right. I didn't need to hear that, to be honest.
No.
You know what I mean?
I did keep saying to you, they've sent you home with the condition that you've got, and I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Because normally what you've had is instant hospitalisation.
Yeah. And
how long? Go on. Sorry.
That's right, go on.
I was going to ask, how long ago was it? I mean, were they under the cosh a bit with COVID at the time? Or?
Well, just normally, because I had to go to a hospital, a COVID station, just to get checked out anyway, locally at Southampton.
Right.
And then, but he said to me, and I'd stake my, I've never saved my life on it. He said, phone up and get yourself booked in for an appointment, where I should have gone straight to A&E there and then.
Yeah. I'm surprised they said that to you.
Yeah, and so why didn't he send me straight to A&E at that hospital I was in at the time, not going to Bournemouth where I went to in the end?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's just been a bit shit really. But
I think if you're on medication for it, which you are, aren't you? I think.
Yeah.
Then I would say your risks are lower anyway.
Well, I'm going to speak
as a result of the vaccine anyway.
Yeah, I'm going to speak to my doctor tomorrow if I can get a phone call. And I'm going to work with him about it. Just all a bit concerns me, to be honest with you. You only get one shot in this world, and I don't want it cut short.
No, exactly.
No, true. You're right.
So, anyway, that's enough boring conversation there. Haydn, what have you been up to?
Well, I've had my second COVID jab as well, and I was ill with it again.
You were ill again, were you?
Yeah, I had a headache. The first morning I woke up, I seriously felt like somebody had fused my spine together because my back felt so stiff.
That's not funny.
No, it's not. It was really painful and felt awful yesterday. Just like with this, I've never actually had a hangover, but like a hangover, or what people, from what I can, pick up from what people have said, is a hangover. That's what I felt like.
Yeah.
But I woke up this morning and I was fine. It goes in a couple of days, but it's just that first couple of days that are not nice at all. So other than that, sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, which one did you have?
AstraZeneca.
I think for side effects, that's seemingly the worst one, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, my wife's had Pfizer, and she's, other than complaining that her arm has hurt today, and yesterday has been, today has been fine with it. Whereas, last time my arm itched, it didn't hurt, and it hasn't hurt at all this time.
Now, mine was first.
My arm has been the least of it, really, to be honest. I barely felt it as a bruise or anything. But after my first jab, I've never had shivers and sweats and chills in the night like it. Never had anything like it.
Yeah, it's not good.
No, but
it's better than the alternative.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's what we've got to remember. And at least in a couple of weeks, we'll be, as in a stronger position as we possibly can. And then we've got to look forward to, our winter jab, which will include a COVID jab now, evidently.
Yeah, the booster in September, is it? They're talking about?
Yes, kicking off from then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed that. What do you mean by booster?
The flu jab will include
I've never had a flu jab.
No, me neither. But apparently we'll be lined up for COVID vaccine boosters in the sort of this coming winter.
Because they're concerned that it could kick off again, isn't it?
Yeah, in the winter be like a sort of second, third, fourth wave or whatever would be on then.
Yeah, fourth wave, won't it? By then, that's something before then. But I've had flu jabs for years, but I was working in health and adult services, and all staff got that because of obviously we'd work with social workers, and if we had flu and then they went off, and visited old people and carried that virus with them, it wouldn't have been good. So that's why, all staff in the health and adult services got jabs. But now I'm in children and young people service, and we don't get the same sort of perk. But fortunately this year I did get my, my doctor's surgery gave us the flu jab. So,
Yeah, that's good.
The first couple of years with the flu jab I wasn't good though, but the last couple I've been all right with. So I suppose it's, just depends upon how it goes with each injection, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So other than medical woes then, do you remember a couple of weeks ago I spoke about a Shuffle Express that I'd bought? It's sort of like this little gadget that I know you guys can't see it, but they can see it on the video. Well, I have been having a chat with the people who have produced it because I had some queries about it. And anyway, sort of like mentioned about the fact that we're doing a podcast and that sort of stuff. So they're going to send us a sample copy of their pro version.
So what is this device?
Well, the jog searching that you get, that professional video editors will use, where they've got like a little dial that you can turn and stuff like that, and you can use it on audio as well.
Right.
It's a device for doing, finer tuning editing, so that you're not dragging along a mouse and stuff like that. So yeah, they're sending me one of those, and they want me to do a review of it. So
that's good.
Yeah.
My understanding is it's almost like a frame by frame thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Or it can fast forward through frames or whatever, but it's completely, effectively speaking, in terms of what the device is a completely user configurable, sort of thing. It's got a jog wheel, which at certain points clicks to the equivalent of a key press, and you assign that key press. So for example, for using Windows, because it detects what software you're using at the time. So if I'm using Windows, I can use it to scroll up and down a web page. And what I've done is I've assigned each of the 5 settings on how far you turn the jog wheel around to a different number of times that you would press page down, for example.
Right.
And then it's got, just some extra buttons and that in terms of that. But the Pro version has got like masses of buttons. It's like sort of like a second keyboard with like a mini keyboard, but with a jog wheel on.
Mm.
And it's all still fully customizable.
So I understand it uses exactly the same software as the Shuffle Express. So
That's good.
yeah, just see how it goes, because it's really useful for editing the show.
Yeah.
So because I've started using it for editing the show, also for the YouTube videos have been uploaded to our YouTube channel as well. So yeah, lots on there. Another big announcement is, as you know, that there are 4 of us, but one of us has been missing for some time, and that being Alan. Well, seeing as this show's already 3 hours, if we, just go along as normal when there's 3 of us, rather than having a 4-hour show, which I'm sure a lot of you guys would probably love and some of you guys would probably hate, we'll be talking to Alan. And as you know, Alan and I used to do, we did like the Picard specials, and we did some other ones, and we were planning on doing a couple of other sort of like midweeky sort of ones. And Alan's schedule is such that he works on a Sunday night when we record, but he's free at other times when I'm free. So we've decided we're going to do a sister show to this. So Alan will still occasionally, hopefully, be able to join us when he's able to on this show. But what we're looking at doing is doing a sister show, which is going to sort of concentrate on the sort of like cinema, streaming, TV sort of side, like we used to do with the big debate, but but also like the Picard ones that we did as well. So that sort of format of a show, it'll be different every week. I don't think we're going to follow like Loki every week and do an in-depth analysis, because to be honest, even with my fandom of Star Trek, those were exhausting to do on a weekly basis with the Picard ones, because I used to put so much effort into doing the research on those as well. But what we're looking at doing is just something a little bit more light-hearted. It's going to have dad jokes in it, and they're going to be corny, and that's why we've decided to call it the Popcorny Podcast.
Nice.
So
yeah, I do like the image for it. That's probably about right, really.
It was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
So that's the plan. We're not going to record the first one for about a week. So it's going to be a few weeks' time probably of what we're going to do. So the first one, well, we've got several ideas about movies. So we're going to do some deep dives into individual movies. We'll look at, like how, Star Trek has influenced technology and stuff like that, or, our top, top movies or sci-fi movies you've probably never watched. So, alternative ones to the normal sort of stuff like Star Wars and all of the predictable ones. But also, looking into all sorts, it'll be looking at superhero, comic sort of movies and whatever else that we can think of. And we're quite open if anybody's got any suggestions of that as well. Maybe do top horrors or whatever. So, yeah, top directors, all that sort of thing. That's the sort of thing we're going to do on it. Make it a bit different every time, not have it quite so structured. And like I said, corny jokes. So hence popcorn and corny. So that's the plan.
Great. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Cool.
So if anybody does have anything, obviously you can still email this podcast at popculturegamers.co.uk if you want to hear anything. I'm not sure about whether or not we're going to put it in this show's feed or do it as a separate feed, because I know that it's not everybody's bag, but equally, as it will be named differently, people would be able to more easily recognise the fact that it's not the main show anyway. So we'll have a think, but I'll probably put up a poll, see what our existing listeners want in there, because I think that some people prefer it as a separate feed. But it is like, it's to go with this show. It's to complement each other, as it were. Last bit is I've also pre-ordered Mass Effect Legendary Edition, which
no surprises
to anybody.
I'm so tempted, but I'm going to wait and hear how the reviews go first. I just don't want my arse bitten, that's all.
I know what you mean, because I think BioWare have lost a lot of trust.
I have.
Yeah.
I think they have in that series after Andromeda, but
yeah, and to some extent after Mass Effect 3, because people felt let down by that one. Even though I thought it was okay, but it wasn't as good as 2, but there's not many games that have been as good as 2. So we'll have to wait and see, but no doubt this time next week I'll be waxing lyrical on how good or bad that game is. So in the meantime, I think that's it for the intros for this week. So shall we move on to Gaming This Week?
No longer a dream, but a reality.
All right, so Gaming This Week, and we've got lots to talk about in terms of some news. So first off, have you guys heard about PlayStation and Discord working together?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, I heard news.
Because originally, Microsoft offered them a lot of money.
Yeah,
that deal fell through. So
they were trying to buy them, weren't they?
Yeah. They were. So the stories were.
Well, yeah.
I mean that could be very true, but to keep themselves as a name, they decided obviously to go to the blue side of the camp.
Yes, indeed. And evidently now PlayStation or Sony is a minority investor in the company.
Oh, so who are the others then?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? Didn't they float it on the stock exchange?
It might be Microsoft in the background. You never know.
Well, that was they were talking about floating after the Microsoft deal fell through, didn't they? I thought that. I don't know.
But that was only a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it was in the last month, I think.
Yeah, they wouldn't be able to float that quickly.
No.
So I'm not really sure what their charging model is.
In terms of user, you mean, like end user?
In terms of where they generate revenue.
I don't know. I have the app on my phone, but I created an account, but I rarely use it.
Yeah.
I use it. I use Discord for In Search of Darkness, because since the original documentary came out and I was a Kickstarter, that was the way we used to do the watch parties. And since then, In Search of Darkness 2 came out, so I did. It's funny because when I was not in the show the other night, I sat and decided to do a watch party, which was Christine, funnily enough, Haydn.
Yes, I watched that yesterday.
Yeah, and a good friend of mine, whose 2 books I've got, he was invited on to do it with them. And for some reason I thought, why is Discord not working? Well, apparently I didn't realise that they shut down the original In Search of Darkness Discord, but pushed it to number 2, and I hadn't had the invite. So I was watching on YouTube as a secondary way. That was fine because I had the film running at the same time, listening to what they were talking about as well, which is I love doing that. I love watch parties. They're very interactive normally.
Yeah.
And so there's that one, and obviously I've got the sci-fi documentary as well, which is linked to the same thing for Discord as well. So they sort of have a special guests on, like for example, Mad Max 2. They had the guy that played the main baddie in that was in Weird Science, for example. He was on it, and he would be answering questions and talking about the actual making of the movie and stuff like that. So
Sam Jones is presenting that, isn't he? Flash Gordon.
Yeah. So they're really good. I do actually put them on Facebook when they happen, but they're good fun to do. Maybe we should do one day. That'd be interesting.
I think we should.
If we choose a film that we can sort of all agree on, one that could be ready available, could be, obviously we don't like to piracy and stuff like that.
No.
Yeah.
But we could.
Are they archived at all?
Yes, they are. They're archived on the server, so I can go back and listen to any of them. Or 1 2 as well. So now they're doing In Search of Darkness 3. Then that's their next production after the sci-fi one that's been running at the moment. So that's really cool for that. But yeah, I think the idea, if we all decided on a film everyone would want to watch, and we could do a 3-way chat about the movie while watching it, and anyone else wants to join in with questions and stuff.
Yeah.
And that could be an alternative to the show sometimes. We could do that on a Sunday night, for example, or make it a live live event that they could all join in with as well.
Yeah.
Just a thought. I'm just putting it out there. It's just something that comes to my head.
I know what's also increasingly popular now is to do actual live broadcast shows, isn't it? Like just normal podcasts, but live out on a network somewhere.
Yeah. Well, we've done a couple, I think. Did we, Haydn?
Yeah, we did a couple when we did the charity event the first time round.
But I think watch parties would be that'd be a good bit of fun to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so next thing is PS5 revamp. Evidently, there's changes coming, and they're looking to change some of the console chips and that sort of thing. And there's some people getting all very excited and saying, "Oh, this is going to be like a pro version."
No.
But I think that this is going to be more like the PlayStation 5 Lite version, because they always do a Lite version first, don't they?
It seems quite early doors to be doing this, though. I mean, I know it won't be released anytime too soon, but...
What I think this is, and I was listening to a video Destin Gary does on his YouTube channel, saying that this is a way of getting around the availability that there is at the moment and how scarce machines are.
To change the chipset.
Yeah, just so they are more readily available.
Yeah.
Maybe,
which makes sense. I mean, funny the game in Bournemouth had a quick stock of Xbox Series X over the last couple of days, and they've gone now. They said that we'll let you know on Twitter when some more come in. That's it. Here they go again.
Yeah, I imagine most of them are pre-ordered already anyway.
Possibly.
I'm still looking for mine, and I could put in an order with anyone. But most people are saying no expected stock within the next 4 weeks.
So
Still,
I don't know if you've got game on your Twitter feed, Mark. It might be worth. I think it'd be worth doing it because they say when they got it in stock. So they said we'll let you know shortly when we got some more. Now they had them in stock physically at Bournemouth.
Right.
Whether or not that means you can pre-order one from Bournemouth, I don't know. But it might be worth actually putting them on your Twitter feed.
Would that be specific to Bournemouth? So that stock wouldn't be available online? I
don't know, but it was the Bournemouth store that was online saying we've got some in, but they've been gone pretty quick. So we're open. But they went. I mean, I heard about it yesterday, and today they did another tweet saying that they're all gone.
I can't imagine they're getting many, though, Even
they'll be getting a handful in, won't they?
Yeah, between sort of 5, 10 maybe at the most, I would say. But I look at the kind of usual outlets and some more unusual outlets most days, to be honest, virtually every day, and I'm still not finding anything. But hey.
But yeah, I mean, eBay, are the scalpers now reducing the price, are they?
Nope, going up.
Minimum I would say I've seen them is between sort of 600, 650, maybe, and upwards, basically. If you guaranteed want one, you'd be looking at 700 plus.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm just not. I've decided that I do. I'm not prepared just to get a Series S just for the sake of having it now. I'd rather wait and get the Series X because
I think you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, and you can get a Series S and the memory expansion, the storage expansion, for a similar price.
Exact price.
Yeah, for the Series X. But the power in the X is so much higher that I'm just prepared to wait, basically.
Yeah, because effectively you're getting a HD machine as opposed to a 4K machine.
Yeah, you're getting a slightly a ray tracing 1X, aren't you, with a Series S, basically. Yeah. So I'm just waiting it out for a Series X. As much as I'd love one tomorrow, I'm prepared to think, or I'm thinking it's probably going to be month, maybe 2 months. See how it goes.
You're doing completely the right thing.
Thank you. I think so. Yeah. I was talking to chatting. When was it? Earlier this week, or maybe last weekend, to Alan actually. And he reckons it's going to be months now. He thinks it could be Christmas before they get the supply sorted out.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? How some parts aren't available or they're just not making them quick enough. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's problems in the actual, manning the production lines, parts for the production. Who knows? but there seems to have come to a standstill, really.
Mm. But you can pre-order on the Xbox if you went onto the Xbox page
Through the console.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that. I've checked that. Was it yesterday, today?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can do that, but I don't know whether it'll be any
quicker. Does it
quicker.
put you in a queue or something? Do you know? Or?
I'm not sure. I just, it just says unavailable or out of stock or however they word it.
I'll tell you what, have a look on places like AO as well, because that's where I got one of the Series X's that we've got.
Right.
And Very, I suppose, is another store you can try.
Yeah, I've checked Very.
And probably John Lewis as well. And
yeah, I've been checking that. Shop 2, I've checked.
Yeah.
We don't talk about them.
No, well, anywhere with stock is a friend of mine at the moment.
Yeah, I know. From that point of view, I do agree. Yeah.
Yeah, and also Smith's Toy Store.
Yeah, I haven't checked that, but they'll be on my. I do go to a website also. I can't remember what it's a stock checking website basically.
Yeah.
But they're not always that up to date. So
do they give you email alerts as well or not?
I haven't. The one I've been checking or logging, sort of going into now and again, I haven't logged in properly. I just check it at the moment, but I'm just going to keep looking and hopefully it will come back at some point. Anyway, should we go on?
Yep. So we got the Sony lawsuit. So there's a class action against Sony for not allowing games on their games to be sold digitally anywhere but their website, and the cost of games have gone up because of them making a monopoly. Evidently gone up by about 15%.
Yeah, which is not a small amount, is it? Really?
They're not making fans, are they? Like from that?
No, exactly. Yeah,
No.
But on the flip side of that, I think they're perfectly entitled to do it, aren't they? But it's not going to win them, like you say, it's not going to win them any fans.
No, I think it's a thing of shooting themselves in the foot, because I do think they'll get more sales by people going to like CD keys and that, sell it, selling them onto those places so that they can sell on at a reduced rate. Still, I think that people will go to them and they're still getting the money back anyway.
Yeah.
And I think that that'll stop people from saying, well, because I've got a PS5, I've probably got, high probability I've also got a Blu-ray drive, so I'll just get it on disc from CEX and play it and take it back. And whatever the American equivalent is, GameStop or whatever, wherever they take games back to. So, yeah, I think that's a bit of a thing. Major Nelson's announced some more FPS boost games on his website as well.
It's a shed load apparently.
Yeah,
I had a little look at that.
Yeah, it was about 90 odd, wasn't there? Something like that.
There's a video on your machine, isn't there? Did a little video about that on the Xbox.
Evidently he's 63.
Yeah, I was thinking just yesterday actually that Larry Herb, isn't it? His name is.
Yeah.
He's been doing this since real early 360 days.
It was just before the 360 was launched, because that's when I was listening to the 10-minute shows. Because then when it got launched, I remember that. Oh, such a long time ago now, that the shows went from about 10 minutes and went a bit further up from there. Can't think he did a 10-minute show, but he did then. It was, probably difficult to do.
I mean, you've got to think it can't be too much longer before he has to hand over to someone else. I wouldn't have thought.
Well, if anything you like doing, doesn't matter how old you are, does it really?
No, true. And if it's all the time, like the video about the FPS, the games added to the FPS boosting, that's just voiceover anyway. So,
and to be fair, he doesn't look too bad for his age.
No,
he looks really good for his age, and. Let's face it, it gives us all hope that we could all maybe land that deal, that great deal as, the next Larry Herb.
Right, okay, I'll settle for that job.
I'd settle for that job on the salary he's on as well.
Yeah.
So, final bit of news I've got here is about there's a new trailer for Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate, which is coming out on a PS5 soon, and it's evidently going to be a 6 months exclusive to the PS5. So PS4 owners, tough luck.
I think that's a load of bullshit, personally. I'm going to say that now. Because they are alienating the other half of their fans.
I know.
Why?
I can't understand that.
Why are they doing it? Absolutely ridiculous.
It does seem an odd move,
yeah,
considering what we've just spoken about.
And
you know,
obviously the PlayStation Store issues that were going on with the older games as well. I mean,
true.
my God, these guys do not make some odd decisions. They really, really do.
But also in terms of, I mean, I'm looking for a Series X, but it's also a PS5s aren't really that easy to come by at the moment.
I think PS5s are harder to come by than Xboxes.
Even if people wanted to buy one just for those Final Fantasy VII Integrate, they're only releasing it for the PS5. What are they doing? I don't understand.
I think Sony are up their arses too much these days, to be honest.
It is a bit of arrogance, I think.
It is, absolutely.
But don't you think that Sony are now where Microsoft were at the end of the Xbox 360 sort of cycle? It's like they've flipped. Microsoft are trying everything to get people to like them, and Sony are all, hey, everybody loves us, so we can do what we like.
It's a dangerous game, though, I think.
I know, but I think it's that complacency when you're on top.
I think it's slightly different in as much as I think the handover or the changeover from 360 to Xbox One, I think that was pre-Phil Spencer, wasn't it? And a lot of that, I think, was messed up by Matrick, was his name?
Don Matrick.
Yeah, and the whole kind of TV sort of E3 that they had, and the suggestion at one point that you had to be online to play games, which didn't matter to me anyway. I never really had a problem with that. But
funny you should ask that, because
that shot themselves in the foot at the time, and I think Sony are potentially going down the same path, albeit in a slightly different way.
Yeah, it's funny you should say that about the whole online offline sort of thing, because our good friend of the show, Nick Wilson, and one of the other listeners to the show has, I was engaged with a conversation in the questions bit about this whole thing, and it's to do with Resident Evil as well, actually, Steve. So it might be interesting when we get to the questions when we talk about that. I did forget there was one other announcement as well. Ubisoft, there's going to be more Division, but it's going to be a free-to-play.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's just online.
Yeah. I really hope that they don't do like a Fortnite equivalent version of Division.
Well, maybe it's going down the same sort of avenue that Destiny's gone to, you know?
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, does someone want to do the news? That's new releases, rather.
New releases. I can do new releases if you like.
Yeah.
Okay, starting. This is for the week of the 10th. Hood Outlaws and Legends, which is quite all over the place at the moment. That isn't it? Heavily marketing that. Sponsored the Major Nelson video I saw about the games with the FPS boost. So that's released on the 10th. Hood on pretty much everything. There's Monster Harvest on the PC and Switch. Famicom Detective Club, The Girl Who Stands Behind on the Switch, had to be Switch. Subnautica on the Switch. Subnautica Below Zero, the sequel, coming to PS4, PS5, Xbox One and Series S and X and Switch. Famicom Detective Club The Missing Heir, coming to Switch. And something, I don't know, Mass Effect Legendary Edition. What's that?
Never heard of it.
No. Sounds like Codwallop, doesn't it?
Sounds ropey. Going to PC.
Yeah, it sounds like the sort of thing you'd buy on a
PlayStation.
PlayStation.
Xbox One. Anything that is got your eye there, guys?
Nothing.
Mass Effect Legendary Edition, obviously, because I've ordered it on the 5.
Yeah,
you're not getting the Mass Effect, Steve?
Not yet. I'm gonna carry on playing Resident Evil for the minute.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
It can wait. It's not going to go anywhere. Once I've done that, we'll see.
I'm intrigued by this. I'm just a bit skeptical about how heavily it's being marketed, but this Hood game, because I think it's partly because I love bow and arrow in a game. But Subnautica I've never really got into, despite what I'm going to talk about in a bit.
It was a hard play, I found.
What, Subnautica?
I
Yeah, you did complete it.
Yeah.
That's fair play. It seemed to me a bit like a No Man's Sky Under the Sea. Really, was that
more
fair?
Ish?
Yeah.
Yeah. there was a story to it, but I don't remember much of the story, to be honest.
No. Right. Should we go on to subscriptions?
Yep. Steve, are you going to do Game Pass?
Okay, so Game Pass, joining Game Pass, we have Dragon Quest Builders 2 on the 4th of May. Outlast 2, good game, that's May the 6th. Steep, I think, is a snowboarding game, remember rightly?
Snowboarding,
May the 6th. The big one, FIFA 21, May the 6th via EA Play. Final Fantasy 10 and 10-2, HD remasters on May the 13th. Just Cause 4 Reloaded, May the 13th. Psychonauts, May the 13th. Red Dead Online is also May the 14th. Remnant from the Ashes, PC only on the same date. And then last but not least on that part, Knockout City on the 21st. Leaving, we have Endless Legends on the PC, Fractured Minds console, For the King on both console and PC. Moving Out is leaving, console and PC, and Thumper is also PC. 6th of May, due to the fact that 21's coming in from FIFA, we'll be losing 15, 16, 17 and 18 on all consoles.
It's fair.
Which is quite fair, isn't it?
Mm.
PlayStation Plus. Now, I haven't been on my PlayStation for a little while, so Wreckfest, Drive Hard, Die Last, PS5 only. Battlefield 5 and Stranded Deep. Those two, I presume, are on the PlayStation 4, and that's it for that. PlayStation Now, we've got Evil Within 2, Rainbow Six Siege, and Get Even. Do someone want to do Amazon?
Okay, Amazon Prime is available until June the 1st. You've got Yoku's Island Express, Beholder, The Blind Prophet, A Blind Legend, and Healer's Quest. And then you've also got Iris and the Giant, which ends on May the 14th. It's available until May the 14th. And Figment, which is available until the 21st of May. Epic, we have, does that say Pine?
Yep.
Don't know that one. And also The Lion's Song.
So Pine's up until the 13th, and the Lion's Song's from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, our glasses don't actually read that small, do they?
No, I know, it's tiny.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I have complained about that every week, but
that's not what she said.
Yeah, bragging.
So, out of all that, though, anything that interests you, I'm glad to see that FIFA's coming up. That's great to see that actually going.
Yeah, I'll download that. A friend of mine.
Download it? Haven't you got it?
No, FIFA 21. No, not 21.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good.
Well, a friend of mine, I've got 20,
Mm-hmm.
but I haven't actually played it that much because I was played a little bit online and spoke in person to a friend of mine who plays it a lot, and he said it's not as good as 19. So it was actually a backwards step. I barely noticed the difference, if I'm honest, apart from the kind of updates in the teams and stadiums and things.
I mean, I think I skipped 20.
Right.
And
I think you did the right thing.
Yeah, and then I've gone to 21, which I actually love it. And I love FUT as usual. That's what I play.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying it. And so if you can get hold of that, then we can have some friendlies on.
Yeah, well, if it's available for download now, I'll download it.
It is. It's on the dashboard. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll start downloading that.
Mm.
Wreckfest on the PlayStation Plus. I mean, I've been speaking about it sort of early 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's a really easy game. Once you've kind of started, it's a really easy game just to, if you've got 10 minutes, you can just boot it up, have a race or two, and then go back to your kind of.
Sounds like a Die Hard movie, doesn't it? Really, it sounds like a sequel to.
I don't know whether Drive Hard Die Last. I've never noticed that on the version I play on the Xbox, but maybe it's the same game.
It's PS5 version of it.
It's a real good, easy kind of fun racer to just pick up and have a couple of races crashing around, and then put it back down, turn off, and go out or whatever.
It's a bit like Rocket League in that sort of respect, isn't it?
Yeah, a bit. I find it even easier than Rocket League, because Rocket League you're playing a match or what have you, but with this it literally, if you only want it to be 5 minutes, it can be. It's just like one race, whatever you want, and it's fun. It's really fun.
Yeah, and that's what we like at the end of the day.
Yeah. why we do it.
So I'm going to suggest for our gaming week, if I start, because I've got an overlap with Steve, who will then talk about him playing with his balls, and then there's an overlap to you, Mark, as well from Steve.
Okay.
So if that's all right,
Yep.
just sign it. Kind of seems the right way to go on, considering what we've been playing.
Yep.
So in terms of this, I'll talk about our segue one last, Steve, which is the first one I've got in the list. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Returnal.
Not my cup of tea, I don't think.
Well, for those of you who don't know what it is, it's basically the storyline is disobeying your orders. Astra Corporation explorer Celine Vassos attempts to land on a planet that's off limits to investigate what she dubs is a white shadow signal, and upon arriving at a Tropos, Celine's ship suffers heavy damage and is forced to crash land. She's unable to contact Astra, and she has to explore the planet, and then she is shocked to find out that she comes across corpses of herself. And she learns that every time she dies, she time travels back into a loop, back to the moment that she crashed. So this is like the big game release for PlayStation 5. It's a very fast-paced action shooter. It's roguelike in its structure and very Dark Souls-ish. They're two genres I don't get on with, unfortunately.
So roguelike, where you die, you start again, but then keep your...
No, you don't keep.
No, okay.
Yeah, you don't keep. You keep very little in this game. And
That's
it's
annoying.
sort of like, yeah, it is very annoying. So maps are randomly generated and change on every death as well.
Wow.
So, for example, the first, when I first started playing it, I think that this game ramps up the difficulty depending upon how well you're doing. I've not seen anything that's confirmed that, but I know when I've been doing well, then the next round seems to be really rock hard for some reason. And
I think that's a bit too much of a steep curve they should be doing with it, because they should give you the option to say, yeah, actually, you're doing really well. Would you like to sort of jump a level up or something?
Well, I'm gonna come on to that in a minute, but
okay.
Basically, very little's carried forward when you die. There are, you always start off with a pistol, and later in the game, just when you get to the first boss, you pick up like a sword blade as well, and then there's a grappling hook and that later on in the game that you can get hold of. But there are different types of rooms that you can go in. So there is like a normal square room, which is part of the main path, square doorway room. There is then sort of blue triangle rooms, which are sort of like side questy sort of things. And then there are doors with symbols above them. And some of those rooms are challenge rooms. So you have to defeat 3 rounds of enemies coming at you, which sounds a lot easier than it actually is, because the difficulty ramps up on each round of enemies. You get tougher ones, and sometimes if you're really unlucky on RNG, then this is, you get a tough one right from the start. It's interesting, actually. The first boss, I actually got to the first boss and I shot it and it blew up in the way that it does in the game, but it only did so after 2 rounds, and it's supposed to be a 3-round kill. And I picked up whatever it had, left the room, but it wouldn't let me progress any further, and it's not showing that I've actually killed the boss, which is really annoying. Obviously something went wrong on it, and it's been patched since then, so I'm presuming it must be something to do with that. As you kill enemies, you earn adrenaline, and that gives you certain buffs. So, for example, faster reload, and there is like a Gears of War reload sort of mechanism built into the game as well when you're shooting. You also, when you open tombs and whatever it is, like there's like sarcophaguses in there, or boxes and stuff like that. When you open these or you do certain pickups, you can actually get debuffs as well as buffs, which is interesting because it can make your armor work worse rather than better. In terms of gameplay, this is so slick. It's like a rocket slid on greased rails. It looks fantastic. The graphics are so incredibly smooth. Not seen any screen tearing or anything. The sound effects are great in the game. And I've got to admit, when I first started playing this game, I was so enjoying it. It was felt like a real shot in the arm. This is great. Really enjoying it. Absolutely fantastic. But I think when I got to my 20th death and had to start right from scratch again, shall we say that my enthusiasm started to plummet off the cliff at a state of exponential decline.
It's harsh, that
it is
sort of gameplay mechanic, I find.
Yeah. And what I found was I was trying to play the game for the love of the story, because I was really quite interested in the snippets of the story that they get, but there's no saves in this game at all. So, if, the missus shouts and says, come on, I need you to come shopping with me or whatever, the only thing you can do is put your console in sleep mode.
See, that's a shame. That's where the Xbox would have probably a quick resume, which would be helpful, wouldn't it?
Well, that's what I mean, Steve. That's what I mean. But but there isn't a save. So if you're progressed so far through, a run, and you think, I want to play a different game, you have to complete that run before you can complete the game, or you'll be progressed back. Well, you'll be go back to your last, which would be you'd be dead and you'd be resurrected again with nothing.
Right. Is that a flaw in the game, to be honest? Because you think you should have a save point that you could actually do?
But that's a Dark Souls-ish sort of approach of the game. So it's actually inbuilt into the actual gameplay.
It's a design, isn't it? It's a design choice.
It is a definite design choice, and not one I particularly like that much. I think there are two types of people who would, actually, there's one type of person who would go for this, but I'm a second type of person who would love to play through this, but I don't want to play that mechanic.
No.
Because I'm enjoying the game, I'm enjoying the challenge, but only to a point. And the fact that I get reset right back down to zero, more or less, each run is just increasingly annoying. And it's just making me think I can't be bothered. And you've really got to be on top of the game all of the time. And it's so easy to just a couple of hits and you could be starting to struggle. And I just don't like that.
How does that mean it's actually, in reality, if for one playthrough, it must be relatively short then?
No, a playthrough could be over an hour.
Yeah, but so one life.
For a level,
but
one life.
Right, so once you've completed a level, it doesn't make you redo all the levels.
It does. It does up until the third level. And then, because once you get to the third level, your death point is reset to the third level.
Right.
It's Groundhog Day, very much so. But
that must be.
So
each level is, from what you've played, is about an hour.
Yeah, I mean, the way that it. I've had a couple of runs where they've been like 10 minutes because I've accidentally gone into a challenge room and I've been under equipped.
Yeah.
To do it, and it's sometimes because of the procedurally generated design of this, I actually had it so that my only option was to go into a challenge room about 2 rooms away from where I crashed, so that there was like an interceding corridor from the crash, and then it was a challenge room which I had to go through to be able to get to the next room. But I had to complete the challenge, and of course I'd literally just respawned and I had nothing, and I died. And that was it again. So that was like a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
And really, it's gruelingly punishing, is this. And the other thing I don't like about this is RNG. It's an RNG king of a game because of it being so random. The environments are random, and the weapon pickups are random as well. And I've been playing it, and even though I might have been doing a run for about 40 minutes, I was still picking up level 0 weapons.
Yeah, which is
And it's sort of like, come on. And then
It's not exactly helping you out, is it?
No, and then the next run, I might go into a room and I'm picking up a level 2 weapon. And it's just sort of like, this is absolutely, totally stupid. It feels like the game relies more on your luck in that run than it does the skill. And that's what ultimately is turning me off big style about this game. What they should have done is, and I know that all of those hardcore people who love this sort of gameplay will be saying, you're missing the whole point. But I'm not missing the whole point. That's where you like to play games. You sadomasochists, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. You want to live your life like that, play those games, that's fine. Dark Souls, that sort of game's not for me.
Yeah, you rock on.
Yeah,
I'm laughing, but I'm totally agreeing with you.
Yeah, you rock on with that. But I want to know what the story is. So I would have preferred like an easy mode, in inverted commas, which would allow me to have a game save and go back to that and not reset.
This is why some games like these, you'd like to think they would give you, as a gamer, options on how to play the game. Because, there's some games where you can play it where you rely on what you pick up to stay alive and stuff like that. And there's sometimes the other version that you'd like to play where you don't die of thirst and stuff like that. These sort of games, they've got to be more, they're not palatable, I think.
Yeah, because at its heart, this is a great third-person runner shooter. That it's the gameplay is fantastic. What's not good is the main mechanic in the game, which is that live, die, repeat sort of process.
How much is the game costing, or is it just digitally at the moment? Or
no, it's at full price.
Yeah, it's a big Sony release, this, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a Sony pricing structure.
It could be a lot of people that might purchase this and then realise this was not for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now that's why I would say anybody who doesn't like Dark Souls, doesn't like Hades or that sort of game, do not go near this game at all. You'll think it's brilliant for the first 2 hours, and by the third hour, you're then starting to think, I'm not making any progress, I'm fed up of this.
Yeah.
And that's nothing to do with game skill. It's to do with the fact that the RNG is so random in terms of what it throws up. I mean, second run, I was like a boss for ages. Absolutely like a boss. And I was killing everything in a few seconds and blah, blah, blah. And then, I'm not kidding you, I literally just put the controller down, picked up a drink, took a swig, put it back down, looked, and there was something had come out. I thought I'd emptied the room. I hadn't, and it killed us because I've just been like, I just took my attention off the screen.
As you throw your controller through the window. Yeah,
it was very close to that. And then I remembered how much the controllers cost, and I thought, no, I won't bother doing it.
I did see on, apologies to whoever it was, I can't remember who posted it, but on the Facebook group, I think it was in the last day or so, yesterday maybe, someone put Returnal down as a possible contender for their game of the year.
Yeah, because I think
they were absolutely loving it.
If you're liking this, if you like this sort of game, this is probably the best version of this sort of game.
Yeah, it's an up-to-date version, slightly different setting to Dark Souls.
Horses for courses, these games are these days.
It is,
everyone likes them.
Yeah.
I mean, we may slag it off, but there's going to be some there that's going to just love it to bits, and it works everywhere with different games these days. There's so much variation that you can play with now that
don't get me wrong. For us. I am not slagging this game off at its heart. It's a fantastic
but
shooter.
It's just not. But it's not for you, though, is it? Simple as.
It's. I don't like that core mechanic of the live, die, repeat, and starting at zero. If you started with everything you've acquired, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But it's that reset to. I say you lose everything. You lose most stuff. Yeah. So if you've, because personally, I like the. There's a gun that you get which is like a assault rifle, and then it has like a lightning sort of effect that comes with it, and if you just keep the trigger down, it keeps going on and on and on and on until you release it, and then that's it, that's spent. And that'll take down like this Groot sort of character that'll appear in some of the challenge rooms and stuff like that. It'll take that down in one go. And that's a great weapon. And you can do things like dash through the shots that they do to you, and that means that you don't get hit by them, and all of those sort of things. You can do all of that, but it's just I don't know whether it's an age thing or what, but I just don't enjoy that sort of game, and I've never enjoyed that sort of game that I can really think of. We used to play games that were punishing like that in the 80s on Commodore 64s.
Yeah.
Well, most games in the 80s, early console, Sega.
They were like that.
That was due to the limitations of the machines, though. Wasn't
Yeah,
it, at
exactly.
the time.
And
I'd like to think we've moved on since then, really.
Yeah, but this it ramps up that difficulty curve quite. I was going along for ages, and right throughout that whole, because I've put an hour or so of Returnal on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And on there, you'll see, the rooms are it's relatively straightforward and blah blah blah. And then just after that, I hit a wall. About an hour or 2 hours after that, I hit a wall, and it was just sort of like, what?
What level was that?
Well, it's not really levels. It's still levels 1. Right. I'm still in the same area, because even though I killed the boss at the end of level 1, it didn't give me the key to open up to level 2,
right,
or anything. And so I'm just sort of stuffed, basically.
Yeah.
And I've got to, because you don't have to beat the end of level boss every time. Once you've done it, you've done it.
Right.
Well, I have done it, but I did it in 2 rounds instead of 3, and it didn't regenerate for a 3rd time.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of like, so frustrating. So, yeah, this is Dark Souls if you like Dark Souls. If you don't, really, really avoid this. Wait for it to come out on PlayStation Plus if you want to play it. And I think that's such a shame after how much I was enjoying it when I first started playing it.
It's an full-on exclusive, isn't it?
It is,
I think.
yeah.
Not even timed or anything. It's just.
I don't think it's even coming to PC.
No, that's what I've heard as well, I think.
Yeah.
Stay there as well.
But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't sound like my cup of tea.
No. But if you are a masochist and you like that sort of gameplay, crack on, because you're gonna love this in your droves, I tell you. Anyway, Steve, tell us about your playing with your Resident Evil Village, and then you can tell us about playing with your balls.
Hang on.
Village.
Yeah, they're still there.
Yeah, still there.
So yeah, I didn't realise last week, and it was coming so close. I thought it was later that we'd be getting it. So it was quite a relief to have, instead of playing with my balls, actually to get hold of a game that I can grab by my balls in a different way, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's balled off by the short curlies.
Exactly. Yes, right. It's been. I can't remember how long it's been now since Resident Evil 7, because this is actually 8 now, isn't it? So such a great game, the last one. But obviously, if you're going to play this and you haven't played 7, they do a recap at the beginning.
Yeah, because I never completed 7, and I watched that recap, and that was. I didn't feel like it was spoilt for me as a game, but
no,
it was good to get that context.
It was to give you a little bit of a taste of what happened in that game, and obviously the end of the game, because it tells you that Chris Redfield turns up, who's a bit of a nasty git by the sound of it from what we've seen so far. But yeah, it was great to see it back. Unfortunately, when it downloaded, it was for midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't actually stay up that late to start playing it because I got work the next day, unfortunately. So I had to wait another day. Overall, I'm very pleased with how the game is presented. I love the start of the game, which reminded me of a Tim Burton movie. I'm sure you probably you've not played this yet, have you, Mark?
No, I'm not a big Resident Evil fan, if I'm honest.
Well, they come a long way, so they are slightly different to what you probably remember playing back in the day. I love the start of the game, giving you this Tim Burton feel with the story of the little girl. From there on, you're thrown straight into the story with the 2 characters from the last game, and from there onwards, it gets a bit weird, and you're left with Ethan struggling in this village which has got a Scooby-Doo. What's going on? I think it's very well presented graphically. Actually, I was very surprised how good this does look.
It's a stunning game graphically. I mean, you're playing on Xbox, I'm playing on PC.
So when I set this up, as I said, I think I did say to you about this, know that ray tracing is actually turned off. You have to turn it on before you start the game. I don't know if that's the right way for it to be brought to you. Maybe it should give you the heads up that you want to turn it on. But it flows well. The feel of the game goes back to Resident Evil 4, if you remember that one, when you entered that village. That's
exactly what I was going to say to you. I feel this really has that feel of Resi 4 in it for me. It's not a bad thing, though. No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it does feel very much like that. But I have to admit, with Resi 7 and Resi 8, I don't feel that these are, while it's some of the same characters sometimes, like Chris Redfield, whatever, I don't feel that these feel like Resident Evil. They're like Resident Evil in a parallel universe to the Resident Evil universe.
Because we're not hearing from Umbrella, are we, and stuff like that at the moment?
Well,
so we did to a certain degree in 7, but yeah, when we got werewolves in this at the beginning, these creatures, and it feels like sometimes you're in. Do you remember those movies, Underworld?
Yeah.
Or even Van Helsing? You know, that village you saw in that film. Very much feels like that, but that doesn't take away from what this game is. I like the idea again that if you keep an eye out for stuff painted yellow, it's going to help you, because crates that are yellow you can crash. There are stuff that you can pull over to shut doors to lock you out. If you've got like these werewolves coming at you thick and fast, you can actually pull stuff to close the doors.
Yeah. It's that big guy with the hammer.
Yes, God, heck, who is he? He looks like some tramp.
Like a tramp werewolf with a hammer bigger than
all his hair
Stormbringer.
Springing out like this, and it's like it's crazy.
Yeah, but I think Thor would have a size issue with him.
So the way the story's going for me, I'm really enjoying it. The way at the moment, obviously, do you realise that you haven't got a pick yet?
Oh God, yeah. I'm still hunting around for that second blooming stone to put in the wall.
That will come as you progress, anyway.
Yeah.
But I always, because obviously what does happen in this game, you will go back to the village a few times. Therefore, you can go back and clear up some of the areas. Now, I've now actually got a pick for picking locks, because I thought I missed it. But no, there is one that you'll obviously get to see if you do the right thing. That's all I'm going to say. But it's, again, this game is where you're going to be going out of the castle into the village a few different times. You're going to be able to go around more often. Collecting stuff for your briefcase is very much the same as most Resident Evil games. You've got the different blocks, like a Tetris idea, so you can shift them around to make sure you can put stuff in there. This won't be any real spoiler, but there's a character in the game where you can buy stuff.
And he's a big guy.
He is. I just feel like him myself. So you haven't seen him, but you know of him, yeah?
Yeah, he looks like he should be on my £600 life.
Yeah, most definitely. So you'll notice in places there's a few coins to collect and so on and so forth, which would be the currency where you can pick up upgrades, other bits and pieces to help you progress through the story. I have already picked up a shotgun, so I'm not sure if you found that at all.
Well, you pick up the shotgun in the village right at the start.
Well, it was not straight at the start, but yeah, there's a table where it sits when you walk in.
Yeah.
So I am fascinated how this story is going to play out for Ethan. Obviously, he's looking for his child. I won't see what happened to his wife, but I'm sure there's a twist to that somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, playing it on headphones with the Xbox headphones I got is a treat, because I am literally immersed in that game with it. And I am always listening to the music and thinking that I keep hearing stuff's going to happen. And I have jumped a few times. Don't get me wrong. Some guy that came out of this curtain with a shotgun on me.
That made me jump as well.
I think I could have gone through the roof.
Yeah.
And yeah, so far I don't know how many hours I've gone into the game, to be honest. I'd have to look on Resident Evil, the website, because it links there for me anyway, so I can probably find out what I've done. But yeah, it's fantastic, and one of the most visual games I've seen on the Xbox so far, in this new console, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm an hour and a quarter in so far.
Okay.
So, and I have there is a video of gameplay on our YouTube channel. Like and subscribe.
So you found the old lady then, yeah?
Yeah, the one who says, "Oh, you're the child's father."
Yeah, and has these skulls hanging from a big stick, like.
Yeah. So I then went up. That's and you go through the graveyard, and there is the.
And she closes the gate on you, so you think, "Oh bugger, I can't go back now for a while." But
yeah. And you go up into the graveyard, and that's where you find the stones. And then you go across, and you go through the little church, and then you go out the back and into the field behind, and you find the woman in the cabin, and you get attacked by more werewolves.
Yeah, so just a bit up from there is the next part you'd have to do. And I find it fascinating just watching some of these little short clips of video you have to watch, because they're so, how do I put it? They're so interwoven into the game that you don't realise you then have to start playing with the actual controller. They're just very well put together, and
seamless.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I really enjoyed it, and I don't think it's as scary as the last game at the moment.
Even though we've just both said we've had jump scares from it.
Oh, absolutely. But there were times in the one before that where I was literally climbing back in my chair when someone was coming towards me. But I'm saying very, very short into the game. I'm actually now in the castle at the moment. So, but as I say, I think you pop out to the village a few times. Hence, you can go back to some of these places. Now I've got the lockpick. They've actually popped up where I found something and I haven't used it. It's on the map. I don't know if you noticed this.
Yeah, and it shows, it colour codes on the map what rooms you've or places you've completely emptied and what ones still have things in.
Yeah, which is very much Resident Evil of old, if you remember, like Resident Evil 2 and with the police station and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm just chuffed to bits with the game that I can actually get hold of now, because it's been a little while since we've had a great new game to play.
Yeah, I must admit, I was quite amazed in terms of PC specs, how low these PC specs are, because this will run on an i5 7500 with 8 gigs of RAM and a 1050 Titan, which is pretty much lower end specs now. And I recommend, and I don't get this I really find this confusing. Recommended specs is an i7 8700 16 gig and a 1070 graphics card, with not a 2070. And the reason why I say it's confusing it being 1070 is because that doesn't have RTX, doesn't have ray tracing.
Okay.
So you'd have to have at least a 2060 to be able to do ray tracing.
Yeah.
So it makes no sense why they say recommended specs to 1070.
Maybe it's easy for everyone else to play in some shape or form.
Maybe, but to me, the recommended specs should always be like to do everything in the game. You know, on ultra settings, this is what you need.
Yeah.
That should be what that should equate to, but it doesn't, and I really don't get that.
Yeah, I do. See, the crafting's pretty good in the game, by the way. It's something else you can be doing as well.
Yeah.
But at the moment, what I've been doing is I've just been crafting health potions and ammo for my pistol.
Yeah.
Just because I think that's what I'm going to use the most at the moment. I'm not sure how I'm going to upgrade the other weapons yet, but you can sell stuff and so on and so forth. And when you get to the Duke, and you'll see all that. Also, there's a couple of freebies in there as well, if you notice. So when you go through it, you'll see some 0 coins. So those are, I think, part to do with the game you bought, if you're with me.
I think it depends upon what version, because I don't have those in mind, because I literally got the base version.
So yeah, it's really great to play a game that, you know, with a good story to it.
Good stuff. Yeah, I'm enjoying
almost
it.
Got me tempted, I think.
Honestly, check some of the videos. I think, or even go to Haydn's video to just get a flavour of it. But I love those sort of games with a good story. I mean, it's a bit to say, because it's not like zombies, which you're used to seeing in these games, and we've got werewolves. It's slightly different, and I like the idea of that. But definitely have a look, see what you think. I think they're great games. I really do. And it might even tempt you to maybe go back to Resident Evil 7, which I think, did we discuss this last time? Is it on Game Pass?
I think it is, yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, fantastic. The first one's a fantastic game, and again, it does work old school. Once you complete it the first time, you will get the rewards with ultimate ammo and different weapons and bits and pieces for a second run. But it also unlocks a couple of other modes, which I don't know too much about yet because I haven't got there. But
well, I'm sure that there'll be the helpers thing that you'll be able to buy you to unlock them all anyway, won't there?
Possibly, but yeah, I think there's something you can, when you finish the game the first time round, there's another mode you can unlock. So it's pretty cool apparently.
Yeah, and there is reverse coming with soon as well.
Yes, which is some sort of multiplayer mode. But those are just add-ons, which I don't really keen to look at. I mean, if it's any good, I'll give it a shot. But at the moment, I just love these in-depth stories with the Resident Evil franchise. You know, so yeah.
There's that thing that you were on about the trauma pack.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, because I got a free lockpick and bits and pieces as well.
Mm.
Now I don't know if that means that the lockpicks break. I hope not, because they're 8,000 credits each time you buy one.
I think they normally do, don't they?
Not the same way they did in games like Skyrim and stuff like that. If you remember rightly from that point.
Yeah, you can get through them in Skyrim.
Oh God, you can. So pause, save, reboot the save. There's a few. Again, we've got the typewriter game save idea again.
But you don't have to have the ribbons this time, do you? So you can save it as many times as you like.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good thing to do anyway. You don't really need the ribbons. If
No.
you find the typewriter, you can put your save in there.
Yeah, because there's a lot of reasons why you might save the game.
Oh God, yeah. But I'm going to try and not save too many times because that can hamper your score. But yeah, no, I'm really chuffed with it. So if we get Mark on board, it'd be nice to see what you think about it. I think it's worth a look.
I'll see what I can see if I fancy it or not. I'll watch a few vids.
So
I've popped in a video into the chat there.
Yeah. Any other games you've got, Haydn?
No, not for me. So we're on to you talking about your balls.
Yeah. So just be quick and brief with me balls. So obviously, as I said earlier, FIFA 21 I'm still playing, obviously. Now it's come to EA Play. If anyone wants to get a team together, not just playing standard bog teams, but with the cards and that, it'd be good to play on that side of things, and you can earn XP and stuff anyway as well. So that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, the other game we've been playing, because was it Bank Holiday last weekend?
Yeah.
So Bank Holiday this time of year is always Crucible, the final snooker tournament of
World
the season.
Championship, yeah.
Yeah.
I watched it.
Did you watch it as well? So
yeah.
just a side from that, Mark, did you go back on the BBC and see some of the snooker stuff they had on there from recent?
In terms of the kind of more historic stuff,
yes.
You mean?
So they had the last frame of the Steve Davis and
classic 1985, was it? I think.
Yeah, 1985, 84, where it all went to the black ball at the end. 17-17.
Steve Davis should have won it. Missed it.
Gutted he wasn't.
Yeah.
So I mean, I used to go to watch snooker quite a bit, and in Reading we had got the Hexagon Theatre there.
Yeah.
So my history is that we used to watch I think it was the Dulux Paints tournament they used to call it at the time, and I've seen Cliff Thorburn play there.
The Grinder. Yeah,
absolutely. And I went to the semi-finals and the final.
Nice.
And that final actually went the distance to a certain. Now I would have to just double check and dig it out, but I think Dennis Taylor was in the final again that year for that one. But it's very interesting sport to actually watch live like that. And moving on from that, I decided to pick up Snooker 19.
Now I had a look through my gaming history just now, and is this Snooker Nation Championship 19?
No, it's not. This is not. I have got Snooker. I do have Snooker Nation.
Yeah. Because that's the one I've got.
I think that was like a game that was in development for quite a while.
It was a preview. I bought it as a preview, I believe.
That's right, so did I. But this one here, I think is the first snooker game I bought proper for I don't know how long. Now I go back to playing Jimmy White snooker on the early consoles, and was fascinated by the ball physics at the time.
Yeah.
Now here, you get to actually play as players. So I've played as some of the. I'm trying to think of the players now. One of my favourites of old now. They don't go back to the older ones, but they've got the players that are playing now. And I was playing as Ronnie Rocket. That was it, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, yeah.
Yeah. So you get to see their animations before the start of the game, and then when they're taking the shots, you see them taking the shots when you're doing through the motion.
Yeah.
There's some online play, which I think would be great to do if you've got a friend to play it. But other than that, there is the offline play, which is a full season that you can go through, where you have to go into the tournament. You don't just go straight in; you've got to qualify.
Right.
So, from my point of view, I've been learning the meter that you have to operate how you pop the balls. Took me a bit of a while to play, but I just like that sort of game. I know it's very slow paced and boring for some people.
I quite like it.
But it's a good way to chill out.
Yeah, very much so.
Have a chat.
But then I was always quite I've been snooker fan, most of my life. So.
Oh, I mean, as I say.
And player as well.
Yeah, I used to play one of the snooker halls in Reading. I used to go to. Used to play there. And if you haven't watched it, go and check out. There is a documentary about snooker in general, where they talk about Jimmy White, Alex Higgins.
Yeah.
Going through.
I think I've seen it.
It's on the BBC iPlayer.
Yeah, I think I've seen it. I think it was shown originally over Christmas time or somewhere around
Possibly,
there.
yeah. With some good memories of snooker of old. I don't watch it as much now because it's the way like darts went. I used to watch darts back in the day and Bristow and stuff like that. But I did enjoy watching the final this year, and hence I picked up this game of this snooker game, and I think it very much represents how snooker looks on the TV.
Right, good presentation.
It is, yeah, and the commentary as well. And if I put the controller down for a minute, I was doing something else. So you obviously take it as long as you want. Sometimes someone's phone would go off in the audience, and they would say, "Please, could you turn your phone off?"
Yeah, clever.
But it's all right. It is what it says on the tin, basically.
Yeah.
Good fun. So it's not too expensive. I can't remember how much it costs now. But
I just had a look. It's $29.99 on the store.
Yeah. So there's another one there if you want to. I've just bought the standard version.
Yeah.
So here, if anyone wants to have a game of snooker and have a bit of a chat, I'm up for that because that's a good bit of fun.
Definitely.
So I think we'll move on to you then.
Me? Well, did you want to? Have you been playing MLB The Show? I'm sure.
Yeah, you can do that last if you want to do anything else first.
You want to do that last? Okay, go on then. So I downloaded and tried out Doom Eternal this week. I used to be a big Doom fan back in the day when it was sort of just walking through corridors and that kind of thing. This is different, though, I felt. I think it did capture some of that. Yeah, some of that kind of... I mean, sometimes in the original games, it was real kind of shoot-'em-up mayhem, really, at times. And I think you do get elements of that in this game where you can turn around and there'll be an imp or a zombie soldier or what have you in your face and you just blast them. But it's kind of... I think where it loses it is when it starts to kind of take it outside. And although it's still fairly linear, I just think it loses some of that personality of the originals. Then you don't quite get that. You are still bombarded with quite a few enemies, but it's all a bit too distant. Then I think it feels better as a play when it's more up close and personal. I think, especially when you have the mechanic of melee attacks refueling your health. I think you need to be sort of more in their faces. And I mean, I didn't try it a lot. I went through the prologue and a bit beyond, and it didn't really connect with me. So I don't know whether it's just me or whether it's just changed a bit too much. So the next thing I started playing, which did connect with me quite a lot, was Star Wars Squadrons. I'm loving it. It's great. And there I think Star Wars as an entity lends itself to video games, because even though everybody still cries out for a good Star Wars game, the one thing they really have it easy with, for my money, is the sound effects, because there's so much in the movies, the series, everything to draw from, and you literally can just lift little snippets straight out of the movies.
I think they probably are. I think those
I
sound
think they are. Yeah, I mean,
use.
the one thing I put in the notes, the example is in Star Wars Squadrons, as you're preparing for launch, you literally have that moment in Episode 4 where it says all flight crews man your stations, and it's just like you say, lifted straight from the movie, and it does give you that kind of, well, me anyway, it gives me that sort of warm feeling inside as a Star Wars fan.
That fuzzy feeling.
Yeah, definitely. It's just, it puts you there, you know. You do kind of, as much as, I mean, in Star Wars Squadrons, I think the characters are a little bit cheesy. The voice acting is a bit dodgy.
It's never been great in Star Wars games, though, is it?
No, exactly, because they're not going to get James Earl Jones or the others. Who's the guy that plays Wedge Antilles? I can't remember. It's Ewan McGregor's uncle, isn't it? I can't remember his name now. But you know, they're not going to pay out for these guys to come into the studio and record new scripts for a game. So
why not, though? To be honest,
well, true, yeah. But it's just, despite that whole kind of setting for me and the sounds, other than that, even, I mean, with what I loved about Squadrons was when you're flying in the cockpit of the ship and you're getting the voice comms coming through your sort of pilot's headset, as it would be.
Red leader.
They even put that kind of fuzziness on the mics and on the sound, exactly like it is in the movies. You know, it could have just been a clear mic like you and I are talking now, but to actually that level of detail, the sound is amazing. I think this is really made by that, and it allows you to kind of, it sort of smooths over any of the flaws in the games that you might have. Interesting opening as well, because like with Battlefront, you get to pick Empire or Rebellion at the beginning. I picked Rebellion, and spoilers, it started me in a TIE fighter, and I'm just thinking, but I picked Rebellion here. What's going on? And the twist there is unexpected, and it's actually quite
I think that's for your multiplayer
novel
character later on. I don't think it's for your story one.
No, but I just thought it was quite an interesting way to begin, to begin a campaign, and takes you by surprise slightly. The story, whatever, you join it's not overly engaging, I didn't find, but good, entertaining, really enjoying the sort of dogfight aspects of it, the missions, and the sound effects are so great that you just forgive the sort of cheesiness of the characters, really. Another game that I played a bit of today, actually.
Can I just say, Mark?
Yeah.
About Star Wars Squadrons, Dennis Lawson.
That's the one.
Yeah, he did actually do the voice acting.
Really?
Really?
He sounded far more Scottish. Yeah, I know he is Scottish, but he just sounded far more Scottish in Squadrons than he does.
Do you want to remind people who he is
in the movie?
He's
Wedge Antilles in the movie. Wasn't he? Or didn't he also do a spell in EastEnders? Or Coronation, or a soap, I believe. I think. I'm not.
Well,
Well, actually, I was going to say, I can't think if it's the same character, but I did the podcast for 40 Towers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, there's an episode called The Waldorf Salad.
Yeah.
You remember it?
Yeah.
And it's American.
Celery, apple, walnuts. Yeah.
Well, the guy that was the husband of the couple was in Empire.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was the. I may be. I'll look at him while you're chatting away. But he was one of the major characters that says, to Hand that, shame we're gonna miss you and all that, you're gonna go and everything else. And Haydn's probably on the internet in the database as we speak, hopefully.
I am. Dennis Lawson was on Holby City.
Ah, that's it. Sorry,
yeah.
I knew it was something soapy. But Squadrons, recommend it. Definitely carry on with it.
With it being on EA and Game Pass.
Yeah, it is, and it's just it's really, if you're a Star Wars fan, it's a no-brainer, I think.
Absolutely.
Right, and another game before the big one that I talk about, which I actually played for a couple of hours today. Steve will say it's just for kids, but do you guys, either of you, have a Nintendo Wii?
Yes.
I used to have one actually. I have
Right.
owned one.
There was
Yes.
a game. There was a game on the Wii which just, I don't know whether it was because of the timing when I had like young children, so it was a real chilled out game to play with them when I was looking after, or with them with me. But there was a game on that called Endless Ocean. Do you remember it? It was a diving kind of research game under the sea.
No, I don't remember that one.
But this is sort of like an updated evolution of that, made by a developer called Eline Media, who did Never Alone. You know, the Xbox. I think it was on PlayStation, was it? I don't know. As well.
Is this Beyond Blue, the game?
Sorry, what?
It's a game called Beyond Blue, the one that you're talking about.
Yeah,
now.
Beyond Blue, yeah. Developed by Eline Media. They actually state in the intro to the main menu of the game that it's directly inspired by the BBC series The Blue Planet 2. So that'll give you some idea of where it's coming from. It's been really highly acclaimed in terms of sort of interactive educational sort of more games, and then it's probably making me sound a bit of an old git sado, but it's just so, I don't know what it is. It's just really chilled, but also quite compelling to play. You play a character called Dr. Mirai Soto, who's a scientist diver. Her grandmother was a free diving champion. And she's basically living, your character that you're playing is living underwater in a submarine. And she's communicating with guys that are other scientists above water on a boat. It's my understanding of it.
Right.
And you go out on sort of, I call them missions, but they're not really, there's nothing particularly, there's nothing violent in this game at all. I've not even been attacked by a shark or anything yet. And you're tracking a whale family. It's quite clever because it was released in June last year, I believe. And it has in-game live streams. You're working for this group of people and they'll live stream to their public almost like it's a real event. It's just within the game, but it's quite well done. The voice acting's quite good, quite natural, albeit a little bit kind of YouTuber-ish. It's generally pretty good looking to look at, although under the sea, I think it's quite easy to do a good looking graphically game under the sea because everything's quite colourful where they are. It's tropical, that kind of thing. It feels quite a real environment. You've got bits of rubbish on the seabed and that kind of thing, sadly, but that's the way it is. And you play this doctor, you go out for your various dives on various quests to track this whale family or pick up a sensor or that kind of thing. The music just totally fits. It's almost kind of not there in as much as it's very ambient. But if it didn't have it, you'd probably notice it. It's just a real good, just before bed, lights out, put this on. You could almost, it's almost an insomnia cure, I would say, in a game. And that's not to say it's a bad thing. It's just a
chilling game.
Such a chilled, great experience. I'm finding it. It's really interesting in terms of, you're looking at species, that kind of thing. You can go back to your submarine and they'll all be logged in your journal. You phone out to other people. I've yet to kind of get to the crux of the story. I think it'll be partly down to the fact that the doctor's sister is looking after the free diving grandmother who's now in a home with dementia or what have you. But there's kind of certain elements that still a mystery to me. There's some weird sounds that are putting off the whales, that kind of thing. I'm guessing I'm going to have to investigate that. At the moment, you can't surface, so there is no world. You can only get to about a meter below the surface of the water. Right. So they tend to get around having to put anything above the water by just stopping you surfacing. And at the moment, I can only dive down to about 70 meters. But I think from what I've seen, you'll have to go deeper than that in the future. So I don't know whether you probably get upgrades to your diving suits, something like that, I'm guessing. But really recommend it if you want something just to totally chill out. It is just really totally chilled. Cannot emphasize that more. And before I get to the big one, I've been playing modded Skyrim, Steve.
Yeah, how you finding it?
Yeah, it wasn't as big a step as I was hoping in terms of like graphical and stuff like that, but it is, it's nice. I actually just started playing it with my existing character as well, so it turns off achievements and things, doesn't it? But I'm not worried about that.
Does it only turn them off while you're doing that, or does it stop anymore even if you switch them off?
I think if I turn the mods off, I'm not certain, but I think they come back. I don't know whether they wouldn't come back retrospectively. I don't think, but I think they would come back from there on.
Right, fair enough.
And I switched on Ghost Recon Breakpoint this week because I haven't played it for quite a while. Actually, I played a bit of Skyrim more, but it's been a good month, 6 weeks, or maybe even longer since I picked up Breakpoint. And I was surprised. They must have they've sort of updated little tweaks in more to do that I noticed, more to do with how it handles your inventory, because now you used to have to go through every item and dismantle everyone individually, whereas now you can select favorites and do like a mass dismantling,
so quality of life changes, as I call them. Very much so. It just saves you having to kind of keep pressing the Y button on the Xbox, at least, just to dismantle anything that's low level, as you kind of gain better gear. That's one of the biggest things I noticed. Otherwise, still love that game. Not to everyone's taste, but it's a good game, though.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I think I think Ghost Recon Wildlands and Breakpoint are responsible for me becoming a more stealth player, because before that I was a bit more run and gun, but you can't, certainly in Breakpoint, you can't run and gun because you'll just get shot up, basically. Really enjoyed that, and I liked the little changes they've made. So do you want to talk about MLB, Steve?
Yeah, well, I'm just actually starting up on here.
That
is my Switch. There you go. Look, see, there it is. There, look.
For those of you who were not able to see the video stream, Steve is starting it on his phone
with a weird controller strapped to the edges.
Yeah, because he's obviously completely sick of talking to us now. Obviously,
it looks really well. It's really quite.
It's a poor Switch replacement, I would say.
Steve's idea of a Switch is something that you turn the lights on with.
Yeah, that's it. You got it. Being an electrician, that would be right, wouldn't it? So, how did you find it? Because I mean, there's a lot more menus in this game that I've noticed.
Really?
Well, maybe because I haven't played the show on the PlayStation 4 for quite a while, to be honest.
I don't know. I think it's
the main game mode. Yeah.
Because on this version it's vertical, whereas on last year's it was you swipe left and right. Now you're swiping up and down.
Yeah.
So that's an obvious difference I noticed. I don't know how you're going about it. I looked earlier and you've played about an hour more than me. We're both around, I think you're on 11.5 hours, I'm on 10.5.
Yeah.
I basically
achievements are slightly different, aren't they, as well? Because I think you've been playing a different mode.
Well, I was gonna say the way I tend to play this game is much like I approach it much like I do FIFA or other sports games to an extent, but I tend to do the player career mode. So in MLB, I'm doing the road to the show, which ultimately I
haven't tried that yet. No.
Well, you basically create your player.
Yeah, I've seen the beginning. Yeah.
You start as a young kind of potential big star, but you have to work your way up. So you start in the AAA leagues, and then you choose your sort of your ambition, I suppose, your position on the field. Yeah. So you can choose then, once you've played a few games, you can choose to specialise as a pitcher or it's like a slugging batter to hit home runs out the park or try all the time, which is how I started I was sort of more of a heavy hitter.
Mm.
But I've noticed a few things in the gameplay with this, and I don't know whether it's just the way they've tweaked the gameplay, which I think it is, or maybe I haven't got the settings quite the same as I did have on the PlayStation. But whereas on the PlayStation in last year's version, you could power hit and build up that stat and just get better and better at that. You're actually in this version, I'm finding you penalised for that. It's much harder to nail a proper, like, big power hit.
Yes. I mean, obviously, what they do have in this game, which is they give you the procedural. If you get better, it gets harder. Or if you're playing badly, it will then match you and spin it to match how you're playing the game.
Yeah.
So,
but I find now I'm just going for like the normal swing as a batter each time, and actually having more success with that than I am using mostly the power hitting.
So so you got, is it three?
Yeah.
You got three types of hits.
Yeah, you have the A button, which is normal. Then you have on the left-hand side, you've got your X button, which is a power hit. And then on the B button is actually going for a contact hit. So obviously not going to hit it as hard, but more reliable. I tend to use the normal, just a regular normal swing now, pretty much exclusively. You do
on the A button, yeah.
Yeah, you do still have that potential to hit home runs. I've still hit home runs with it. You don't need a power hit to hit home runs.
No.
It's just
all about
timing,
though, isn't it?
Yeah. But what I find great about this also is that it really does give you that whole kind of cat and mouse between the pitcher and the batter, in as much as choosing when to swing and when to just leave it, reading the pitches. I find sometimes I'll start a game and I'll be on that, and just if it's going out of the strike zone, I won't swing at it, and you'll get walks and things like that. Sometimes you start a game and you're just thinking, why did I swing at that? Why did I swing at that? And you're just.
But you tend to swing at most things anyway because it's what you're trying to do, and I think you don't. Yeah, go on. You don't seem to want to. You've got to plan it because obviously, from a pitcher's point of view, if your pitcher's starting to get, he's not as well focused, and he's starting to throw a few bad ones. Therefore, they're getting that point where they can do the walk to the first base. Yeah,
you need to swap them out.
Yeah, and you've got to go into your team. But I've been enjoying doing March to October.
Right.
Because that's like playing. All right. What I don't do on FIFA is to play this normal mode where you would just play a season or go through that.
So are you playing as team?
Yes.
Right. So you choose your team.
Yeah, I'm sometimes as either New York Yankees or the Cubbies or something like that.
So you're going straight in as a major league.
Yeah, and you're just playing the season as the season goes.
Yeah, so you just play every game. You're batting every batter, and then you pitching or fielding.
You're doing both. Yeah.
Yeah.
From that point of view, I'm not out on the field because the two things I do are between the two and that, and I quite enjoy that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now, building up a character is a nice idea to do. Not that I did see the start of it to get an idea, but I thought that the chat and interaction was a little bit ropey. I don't know what you think about the choices you get given from that side of things.
They're functional, I would say. You know, they're not going to.
But it doesn't take you in. It doesn't take away, though, does it, that the presentation this game gives you?
No, totally. I mean, that's what I was. I put that in my notes. It's just the sounds, the commentary. I find the commentary is less repetitive. It still repeats, but it's much less so than you get in something like FIFA. I think it seems more natural, you know.
And there's two ways to have the commentary. There's the network, and I can't remember the other one's called now because I've played it for a while. But I do like. I think it was MLB Network. I think I have it set for. But it's just so Americanized.
It's very slick, isn't it?
But it is one of the slickest. How do I put it? You could think you're watching a game of baseball if you just sat there.
Yeah,
and that's how it feels.
Yeah, I agree.
And the crowd. All right, I think the crowd's better in this than it is in FIFA. To be honest, I've always thought that.
Yeah. I mean, I play FIFA not all the time, but sometimes I play FIFA with headset on, and so you kind of get much more of the detail of the sound.
Yeah.
And to be honest, the crowd chants in that are bordering ridiculous at times. Obviously you can't. There are no audible words, but it's just the sounds they make are, I would say, sometimes even annoying. Especially when it's sort of going straight into your ears, and you can actually notice it more. Do you find that?
What, with FIFA or?
With FIFA, yeah.
Well, no, actually, funny enough, because I don't play the career modes and all that, I just play the cards with the Ultimate Team.
Yeah.
I've got that set up with the Spurs chant, for example, in the crowd. And I've also got all the banners and everything else, which you'll see when you download it. You'll get to see how that works.
Yeah, maybe it's just the way I'm playing, the mode I'm playing it.
Yeah, but if you play a FIFA Ultimate Team, and I can talk you through that from that point of view, that is good fun because it's being a kid with the pack of cards of players that you get given without the chewing gum, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But funnily enough, though, you do have that idea in this game as well. So you've got the packs, baseball packs.
I think that was definitely in last year's. I think I'm not sure about how far back it goes, but yeah, it's been. I think most sports games.
Yeah. I'm not playing the game here, but they're actually waiting for me to play because at the moment you won't be able to see this. But they're just hanging around, kicking their feet in the dirt, waiting. It's just so clever how it all works, it comes together.
Yeah, it's very much
It's a difficult sport to probably understand to a certain degree because even you, Haydn, I think we know how rounders plays at school, but it's far from it. It is just.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that I joked on with you when you were both saying about this before that it's just American rounders, but I was doing that very flippantly because I know it's not the same.
Yeah. Obviously, you can buy these studs that you can earn coins for. Same way it works in FIFA, but that's
open your packs up and things.
But you do earn XP to earn other bits and pieces within the game itself, so you don't have to buy them. And it is. I mean, I haven't played. There's a few other. You've got obviously Road to the Show. You've got March to October, and there's a couple of other ideas you can play in as well. Yeah. Which I've not really delved in.
There's franchise, which I've not tried it, but I'm assuming that's more of a kind of management side.
Yeah.
Like you have the manager option in FIFA.
That's right.
It's just a complete package, I think, as a game. I think even if you're only just sort of, even if you're not into baseball, but you just want a good something that I'm going to come to in a later is a good summer game to play. The ambient sounds are brilliant, especially in the lower leagues like the AAA, and I've just moved up to minor league. So you don't necessarily always get that big crowd sound.
Right.
The way it handles it is just amazing. Just ambient sound.
On the same way the FIFA works, the stadiums are pretty cool. The top league, you've got the Yankees and the Cubbies, all those big stadiums there, and I like the idea that you get the radio commentary from the girl. Not that she looks great, probably. But
Heidi Watney. Yeah, very good. And they're doing. Go on.
I was about to say about the podcasts they have on.
That's exactly what I was going to say. They're doing those kind of live feeds, so-called, supposed to be live sort of debates and things like that. Yeah, very, very clever. And it's all, I guess, it's kind of partly brought in because of the kind of pandemic mentality, I suppose, that whole almost like we're doing now, online chats, video chats kind of thing. It's very very well thought out as a game. I think one of the best sports games you can out there.
And I'd say visually, I think even by just saying this now, you won't see this yet, but when you watch FIFA go from standard to 4K, and that looks pretty good, really does, But actually, with this game, and I had that basically with the PlayStation 4, though, it looks so real. I don't know how they get it to do that, but I know.
Looks. I've heard some people saying that it's graphically it's been held back slightly because it's still on the PS4 and the Xbox One, but I'm not really seeing that. I know I'm only playing on an Xbox One, but not through lack of trying. But
no.
Would you ever give this a go, Haydn?
I've been thinking about giving it a go. I'm not sure whether or not I would. I think it's probably the type of thing I will just load up and have a couple of games out of curiosity.
Especially if you can. It's on Game Pass. It's cost you nothing.
And that's what's amazing to me is the fact that this has been a PlayStation exclusive and is now effectively free at the moment for Xbox users to be able to play as long as they subscribe to Game Pass, whereas you've got to pay 60 quid on PlayStation.
Yeah. And, quite a lot of people own both, probably. I would say.
Can I ask you a couple of questions there? Because obviously it's something I've got questions about. Might have had two versions. I'm not really quite sure now of the show on the PlayStation.
Right.
So when you're pitching a game, you get a selection of pitches to take.
Yeah.
So you're going to get different curve shots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now when you're taking those shots, so you've got, for example, you've got A, B, C, Y, X, and I think RB as well. Yeah. Now when they're flashing, does that mean they're powered up?
I've always understood that's what they're recommending you throw.
Yeah. Now,
I don't think it's a case of powering up. I just think it's what the catcher, because that in real games the catcher will suggest they usually have like
they would have their hands down,
a form of sign
knees.
Language within the catcher's glove.
That's
so
right.
the batter can't see it.
Yeah.
And he suggests what to throw, and I think that's the game's way of doing it.
But also, which is something I think, is it new that when you're actually batting, shall we say, you get this little quiz of idea of trying to think what he's going to.
No, that's always been in there, where you pull the right trigger, and you can. I think I don't really use it because the chances of guess. Well, I think if you do guess correctly, it will aid your hit. You'll get a bit of a start on the hit, more likely to. But guessing correctly, okay, most common pitch is a fastball, so in theory you could guess fastball every time. But how it affects you if you don't, if you guess wrong, I'm not sure. So I don't tend to bother.
Shame if I turn this up. That's like you got the radio on.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
And I'm gutted I couldn't go to a baseball game, to be honest. That's one thing I wanted to do when I was out there, but it was the wrong time of year for it.
Right. You went in the winter.
Yeah, if I ever get to go back, I'd love to just pop over to.
I've been to loads.
Yeah, I mean, they have been here, and they were selling out pretty fast at Wembley when they were doing them.
Yeah, well, I went to the one it was at the Olympic Stadium at West Ham.
That's right.
That's where it was. I went to that over here in 2019, and I had tickets to go again. That was the first time they'd ever done it in 2019. I had tickets to go again last year, but it was cancelled, obviously.
Yeah. So it'd be nice if we get the opportunity to actually do that. It would be pretty cool to go to.
Yeah, it's amazing. You don't get. It's not like going to a football match here at all.
It's a day out, isn't it?
Well, you're there for 3 or 4 hours. 4 hours probably, and you get people walking around up and down the seats selling beer, hot dogs, anything, and you don't
big hands.
Yeah, and you don't get people walking around football stadiums selling beer. It would be bedlam.
Yeah. That's it. But yeah, I mean, overall it's a game I think people can actually just pick up and play and try it out. The tutorial's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think that I mean, you have go for that, because it does give you the option of how to use mechanics. So there's like 3 different ways, remember rightly?
At least, yeah. I think with the pitching, 3 or 4.
So whatever suits your play.
Yeah.
Got the opportunity to do it.
You can try them all out before you select one.
And I think you can go back in menus and change it if you want to.
Yeah,
anyway.
I think you can. Yeah, I think you can. Yeah, that's just a great sports game. Well presented, good graphics, great gameplay. And if you don't like baseball, you would probably end up playing this and getting into it.
I think so. Yeah. Haydn.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'll give it a go. Try and give it a go before the next show.
Just try it, just to have some feedback on your thoughts.
Yeah.
Because
as a non-fan.
Yeah, as a non-sports fan, should we say, even more so.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, if I ever went to America, I would want to go and see a baseball game. Because that to me is a very American thing. I used to play American football when I was younger.
Yeah.
But I'm not into that now at all. lost my way with that.
I mean, I don't know about yourself, but I've enjoyed watching a few of the baseball movies over the years.
Yeah, Field of Dreams, that sort of stuff.
Or
League of Their Own.
And even from the comedy side, when you got Bruce's Millions, you know.
Oh God, yeah, that's a classic movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's an American pastime, and it's just one to actually just dive in and have a play and see what you think.
But they've just done a really good job with it, I think.
Yeah.
There is other versions of games that's been out, isn't there? But they've all been dreadful.
Yeah, there is another one. The one that's always been available on the Xbox and still releases every year is RBI Baseball.
Yeah.
And I did buy it 1 year, about 2 or 3 years ago, and it's rubbish. You know, certainly compared to the show, it's just rubbish. It's not worth.
I mean, it's
not full price.
No,
it's only. I think it's only it's about 25 quid or something like that. But
I think back in the day,
it isn't worth that.
No. There was a place, I can't remember now, when I did the original PlayStation, from PlayStation 2, there was a baseball game out at the time that I used to play on there. Nothing in this comparison, obviously, but it was what was on at the time, and I used to play that. But,
I think on my N64 or something like that, I used to play a game called High Heat Baseball, and that was very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good at the time.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
Right.
Right. Okay, yep, let's move on to movies, TV, and streaming.
In quest of a better life,
All right, movies, TV, and streaming, and we've got 3 bits of news, and there's 3 of us, so I think we could do one each. So I'll start off with Doctor Who, Jodie Whittaker to be replaced possibly by Line of Duty's Vicky McClure. So ever since the rumours began to spread about the possibility of Jodie Whittaker stepping away from Doctor Who, Whovians have been debating about who the titular character could be next as the Time Lord for BBC's long-running sci-fi show. And evidently Vicky McClure is the one who's in the headlights at the moment. The BBC is yet to confirm or deny whether or not Jodie will be leaving after the next season. What do you guys feel about this?
Well, I've not watched Line of Duty. Have you guys watched it at all?
No.
No. Now, I always thought, would it be wrong if we went back to having a male character than the female? Or would that just upset a few people?
Well,
go ahead.
Have you guys seen The Timeless Child, which was the last episode of I think the Christmas special or something?
So I've still got those to watch, and there's obviously a change in the canon, as you say, probably from that point of view. And...
from a change in the canon, if you would refer to a change in the canon to putting it in a metal container, pouring petrol over it, and then throwing a flame on it.
Yeah.
If that's what you call a change, that yes, there is a change in the canon. I would refer to it more as taking a disrespectful dump from a massive height on it, to be fair. And for me, they've destroyed Doctor Who.
You don't think there's a return?
Not for what they've done with that. I don't like the new master, and it's nothing to do with the fact that he, is Indian or whatever nationality.
I don't know.
He is.
I
it's
thought
nothing
it was still
to do with that.
I thought it was still the other woman. I've not seen it yet.
No. Even though technically the master actually created a paradox and killed himself totally, the master came back in the next season. And I just didn't warm to him as the master. I don't like the way that Missy I thought was a great master.
I did. I like her.
Yeah, she played it perfectly. And I think what you call him off Life on Mars.
John Sims.
Oh,
I would have liked him to have done it better because he's a much better actor. But I think it's just the way that they've wrote it. But I do kind of feel that Doctor Who, the BBC has a love-hate relationship with Doctor Who, as in they love it because it's one of the big front show runners for them, but they hate it because they feel so tied to it, I think. And I think that they're trying to change it, and they're just destroying everything that made the show originally special. With it, I think that with them doing what they've done with Gallifrey and stuff like that, I think they wrote themselves into a corner, and someone came up with the idea of, oh, let's just change the entire history of 60 years of the show, which, to be quite honest, I would have much rather David Tennant to have stood out of the shower and said that the last few seasons have all been a dream.
Yeah,
because
Dallas style, yeah.
Yeah, because I just hate the show now. And it's nothing at all to do with Jodie Whittaker. I think she could be a good Doctor. I think the problem is they've kept the Doctor sort of like rambling from Matt Smith. And whereas Matt Smith made it feel eccentric, I feel that
it was the same way that Patrick Troughton was the same sort of character, wasn't he?
Yeah, and I feel that because of that, it actually, Jodie Whittaker comes across more bimboish, for want of a better term. I don't think it flatters her as a character.
Not even as an actress, because she is a good actress.
She's an excellent actress. She deserves much better than the scripts that she's getting. Much better. I think that the whole sort of like family unit that they had in previous seasons with what you call it, Off the Chase.
Bradley Walsh.
So Bradley Walsh. No offense to Bradley, he's a good actor, he's a good comedian, but he just wasn't right for that show at all. And evidently now it's going to be the Liverpudlian, John Bishop.
John Bishop, yeah,
John
that's
Bishop.
right.
And I kind of like feel like they want to destroy the show with every move that they make. There's been a previous actress who's been tooted about for this, and I think that she would really bring a lot of credibility to it, and that's Olivia Colman.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk about that, but I say now
she's too big now, though, don't you think?
No.
Why not?
Doctor Who is one of the biggest sci-fi things going.
True.
It only just, and I know Whovians are going to hate me saying this, but it only just stands in the shadow of Star Wars and Star Trek.
True.
But it does have the prestigious, it's the long-running longest sci-fi show, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is. It has that prestige. It has a long history.
See,
it's not. It's a bit cheesy, and the sets are made out of polystyrene. But
back in the day, yeah, shaky sets and trees or whatever, and and the outfits look like they're made on blue peas with sticky tape, back plastic, and everything else. But that's had its charm. But I would, to be honest, right now, I'd rather sit and rewatch a season of David Tennant or Matt Smith than watch that Doctor.
David Tennant was great, I thought.
Yeah, and I've rewatched some of them already before. I go back and I'll start from the beginning, and just, there's some great favourites there of mine that just stick out, big time.
I mean, John Pertwee, even though technically, if you went by age, when I became aware, Tom Baker was the Doctor.
Yeah, me and John Pertwee.
Moving into Peter Davison, but my favourite Doctor is and always has been John Pertwee. And then Peter Davison was up there right up until Christopher Eccleston and all of those ones came, and I just really loved the way that they did the format of it. But I just think now it seems like the BBC want to destroy this. It feels like they've gone back to the Sylvester McCoy days.
Yeah, which the low days.
Yeah, I mean, no offense to Sylvester McCoy, but that was pretty much the bottom with Ace.
Well, without saying it too rudely, that's where it died in its arse.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was.
It finished it off for a good while, didn't it?
Yeah.
Really.
Until we had that. I haven't watched. I do own the Doctor Who movie that
Paul McGann one.
Yeah.
Paul McGann, yeah.
And I think he could have been a really good Doctor Who, but that never sort of like thing. I like Peter Capaldi. I thought he was all right. I think he got bad scripts, but I think that this has been the problem with this for years, has been the scripts more than anything else.
Yeah, when you go back to seeing who was looking after the show at that point, especially in its heyday of Tennant and Matt Smith. Yeah. And it then changes again, but
Tennant's been the best Doctor, hands down.
Yeah.
He was good, but do you think it's partly down to the companions as well, though? He had it was well crafted, it seemed, that time, I think, as a whole.
I mean, to be fair to the new Doctor Who, I really like Mandip Gill, who plays Yasmin Khan. She's the police officer who's got in with the Jodie Whittaker's Doctor.
Oh, okay.
I really like her. I think she plays a really good part. But I mean, we've had some great actresses in there. We've got Karen Gillian, haven't we, as Amy Pond?
Look how she's progressed.
Yeah. Jenna Louise
Superhero.
Coleman. I mean, she ended up being Queen Victoria.
Yeah. I mean,
David Tennant had was it Billy Piper?
Yeah, and so did Christopher Eccleston as well, because she crossed over both.
And unfortunately, I know it's probably a bad word at the moment, but even with Mickey Smith,
Noel Clark.
Yeah, he's unfortunately at the moment he's not on the best of terms with a lot of people.
He's not the most
right now.
hireable of
24
actors.
sexual assault allegations made against him.
Which I cannot believe such a thing. That is where's this come from? That's for another debate, if anything. But it's a real shame that this sort of thing goes on. But but with him and everyone else, the mother as well. But everything gelled and it just fitted perfectly. I know when Billy Piper left, we moved on and we've had another couple of companions, but they all worked as well. You would have thought the sort of comedian would actually work. And from that point of view, with her, even though it was I think it was one season she did, wasn't it?
Who's that? Billy Piper?
No, I'm on about the comedian.
Catherine Tate.
Yeah,
she did. Because also with David Tennant, there was Freema Agyeman as well, who played Martha Jones.
Yeah.
She was really good. I mean, I think that one of the best episodes of Doctor Who for years was the one with Matt Smith, David Tennant, and John Hurt. That, to me, that was just pure brilliance.
And again, and Jenny Coleman was in it, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was. Yeah,
she was in that. And also you had Gavin's missus as well. She was in it.
Yeah,
from Gavin and Stacey. But it's a very tearful episode at the end, I must admit, with Tom Baker at the very end of it as the caretaker in the museum.
Yeah, but that to me, that was like the height of the Doctor. Not because it was Matt Smith as the Doctor either, because
it's just having them both together. For you and me, and I don't know about Mark, but the Five Doctors was one of the pinnacle we had.
Heck yeah!
The Five Doctors episode, and I've got the remaster of that on Blu-ray, and it's fantastic.
Can you have a remaster of the Doctor?
Yeah, I know it is, and it's great. I just love it. Yes, it's pretty good, isn't it? A remaster and a reboot.
Yeah. You should have a regeneration, surely.
Yeah, reincarnation. Anyway. Carry on.
Who wants to do about Owen Wilson?
Shall I do that one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Owen Wilson is to lead the new superhero movie Secret Headquarters. Loki's Owen Wilson is headlining a new superhero movie titled Secret Headquarters. According to Deadline, Secret Headquarters will be Wilson teaming up with Project Power directors Henry Joost and Ariel Schulman. Described as a high-concept family action movie about a kid who discovers the secret headquarters of the world's most powerful superhero hidden beneath his home and must defend it with his group of friends when villains attack.
So it sounds like Cats and Dogs meets Home Alone.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds kind of sort of worryingly generic.
Yeah, very kidsy sort of movie.
Well, unfortunately, that's the way Marvel has gone at the moment, isn't it? On its TV
I don't think that's Marvel, though. I don't think it's Marvel. I think it's just a generic superhero movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's not linked to Loki. It's Loki.
It's just the fact that, yeah.
I
see. Okay, so maybe it's maybe aimed at a younger audience, perhaps.
Yeah.
Good one for the family, won't it? If you've got kids.
Yeah.
Owen Wilson's quite a big star in his own right, anyway, isn't he?
Well, isn't he advertising sofas a lot these days?
Has he really?
Yeah, he does
sofas with loafers.
He does the one with his dog, supposedly his dog, down near the beach.
I'll just sit and watch Zoolander. That keep me busy.
Starsky and Hutch. It's got to be that one.
Oh, that as well, yeah. But
Night at the Museum movies. His they're quite entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Or
very
Meet the
versatile.
Fockers.
Yeah.
Yeah, which actually is quite a good one as well. Yeah, he's very versatile. And obviously, what was the one me and the missus watched? The one where to do with Google, was it to do with Google? Because they were going to be interns.
It's called Intern, isn't it?
Is it
The
called Intern?
That's
Yeah.
with. Is that Owen Wilson?
Yeah, with
Vince Vaughn.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it, but
Yeah.
I just didn't remember it being.
I do cringe, but it's very funny that the scene in the swimming pool. I think
I don't remember. I know it's Vince Vaughn, and they have the pods, don't they? They have the pods that they go to on that, the little kind of capsules that you can put yourself in.
But but he's done loads of stuff.
He was also Lightning McQueen in Cars as well, don't forget.
He was, yes. One of my daughter's favourite Disney movies a few years back.
Yeah, they lost it on 3 though. That was a terrible movie. I didn't mind 2.
I don't think I've seen 3. I've seen 2. Yeah, 2's all right.
Yeah, I don't like the way that they went with Pixar went with both Toy Story and with Cars, because they project it, to like with Toy Story it was the kid grows up and then they go, then they get a risk of being like a lost toy or whatever, and then with Cars it was Lightning McQueen starts to become a has-been. I think for movie characters like that are CGI, there's no need to age them. It could be just the next story the next day sort of thing.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that they lose something when they do that sort of stuff, but but I liked him in the Fokker movies. I think they were the best ones.
What's the other one where the Wedding Crashers? Have you seen that one?
Yeah,
that was good.
That's Vince Vaughn as well,
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, what's the name? Not Home and Away, was it?
So the Wedding Crash, or am I thinking the Wedding? No, I'm thinking the Wedding Singer with Drew Barrymore.
No, Wedding Crashers, isn't it? Where,
Wedding
Crashers. It's Wedding Crashers.
Yeah,
with Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, and you got and the 2 girls that they get involved with in it. You got to see Sacha Baron Cohen's missus, isn't it? She's one of them. She was in either not Home and Away or one of those TV shows, soaps at the time, back in the day.
Yeah, I can't remember her name.
Well, then there's also Behind Enemy Lines, isn't there, where he's that was based on a true story. It's an action thriller, very out of character for him.
Yeah,
I must admit though, when he's in a comedy, whatever comedy role he's in, he seems to be exactly the same sort of character.
Yeah. I think he
a lot
revels
of
in
comedians
it.
are like that, aren't they? Comedy actors. I think.
I mean, there's other softer stuff like he did, like I think it was Marley and Me, for example, which
Yeah, about the dog.
Dog One and stuff like that. I mean, they all did those sort of generic movies.
He was in Armageddon as well.
Yeah, I know he was. Yeah, he was good in that actually.
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
He wore like a cowboy jacket, didn't he, with the old tassels on it?
Right.
Remember rightly. That's a good film. I think people knock that sometimes, but I love it.
It's Ben Affleck, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
he
Bruce
was
Willis.
also he was also in the Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
And you got the other guy in it who was in the Green Mile as well, I think, as well. So it's quite a big, from that point of view, that film, there's quite a lot of actors in there. Anyway, what's this last one then? What's this all about?
Well, you're reading that one, Steve.
Right, it's Marvel, because I don't do Marvel, do I? But yeah, no, I do. So Marvel unveils the first Native American Captain America in a forthcoming comic. Marvel Comics have given fans to look at Joe Gomez, the first ever Native American character to assume the mantle of Captain America. Gomez will be introduced as Captain America of the Kickapoo tribe and will star in a comic alongside Steve Rogers. The new incarnation of Captain America will meet the 4 characters whilst they travel across the US in search of a missing shield. Gomez Captain America will first feature in the United States of the Captain America episode. Well, it'll say comic 3, that'll be there.
Yeah.
Again, it's just, I think, going out there to give everybody a flavour from their own.
Yeah.
Wow.
I suppose.
It's what it's about these days, isn't it? But
yeah. How long before a female Captain America?
Well, it's like about James Bond, isn't it? I mean, I know.
Yeah.
That was sort of in that movie coming up soon, but no, she is 007. But
as I've said before on this debate, you can't have a female James Bond. You can have a female 007 because 007 is an allocation, not a name.
Exactly. Actually, I do recommend. I found a documentary on YouTube about James Bond from the BBC archives.
Yeah.
and they go behind the scenes of all like the Sean Connery stuff and Roger Moore. And you've got I can't think of the guy that's hosting it, not like Alan Wicker, the other person that did a lot of BBC stuff. But it's a lot of good back behind the scenes stuff on that in black and white. A lot of it is, but it's all the BBC archives of doing Bond over the years. Worth a watch if you fancy something like that. Okay, so we do the Blu-ray DVD releases.
Yeah, do you want to do those, Steve?
Yeah, so I'll highlight. There's not much actually. It's highlighted in black. So
it's a pretty awful week. To be
fair.
the
Paul Newman trilogy we have, which is on DVD. We got the Persona Animation 5 Part 1 Collector's Edition on Blu-ray DVD. Shrek Ultimate Collection. Do we need any more Shrek at the moment? I don't know.
It's all of the movies, I assume, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just the collection.
My kids were good favourites of that, and they did enjoy them.
Yeah, they're quite funny still.
Yeah, they're still good family movies, aren't they?
Yeah. Other than that, just going to have a look through, just to see what else is coming out there. Nothing to really shout out about, even from my point of view, with some of the stuff I watch. Yeah, very, very short and sweet this week.
Yeah.
So we know what's in the Paul Newman trilogy.
I should imagine maybe a Tom Cruise movie might be in there.
Cool Hand Luke, something like that.
The Colour of Money, wasn't it? The one with...
Yeah, that's with Tom Cruise. Yeah, the Paul there. But
it's not actually saying on.
Yeah. Will it have the Towering Inferno?
Could do, couldn't it? I mean, he's done plenty.
It doesn't actually say on the Amazon page either.
What it actually contains.
But he didn't do did he? He hasn't done a series, has he? Like a 3-film series, as far as I know.
This is going to be either a 3-bag collection of some of his famous movies that he's done in the past. Whether or not it's just, I don't know why they just picked Paul Newman out of nowhere, and if it's something we don't know about.
And with someone like that, how do you pick 3 movies to go in a trilogy? You know?
Yeah.
Just sort of pin in a page, isn't it? Really.
I'd like to know what they are, though.
Yeah,
it's 5 in Judgment, The Rag Jungle, and The Army Game.
Okay, I think I'm interested in watching there then, from that point of view.
No, me neither.
It's none of his classics.
But if you like Paul Newman,
yeah,
and you don't want to see him playing cards in The Colour of Money,
well, I'm fine.
Or in prison or something.
Yeah.
Well, I've got the Towering Inferno on Blu-ray, so I'm happy. I've got that. That's okay for me.
Yeah. Or escaping from the Nazis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, who's going to do the Blu-ray DVD chart?
Do you do those, Mark?
I'll do those then. So this is, which week are we on now?
This week.
So fair enough. This week, going down from 5.
This is Christmas, okay?
Wonder Woman 1984. Number 4, we've got Irreversible. That's a new entry. A re-entry is Donnie Darko at number 3. Another re-entry at number 2 is Battle Royale. And number 1, massive increase in position, Batman vs Superman, Dawn of Justice.
I wonder why that is, by any chance, Haydn.
Yeah. Did you buy them all?
Because somebody wanted to watch a decent superhero movie instead of the Snyder Cut.
Actually, it's not bad, actually. I have seen that one. I would like to actually own them all on. Some of those ones, actually, I'd like to have the bundle of them at some point. I don't have them all yet.
I think the Donnie Darko one is because haven't Arrow just released a special edition version of that?
It's not a 4K version or something, is it?
I think it might be one of them.
Because actually, it says
there's certainly been a
but
release.
Actually, it's not Arrow though, because it's got 101 Films alongside it. Because 101 Films is what I'm going to talk about in a minute on my film, which are a very good. They do release some good movies. 101.
Yeah.
But I thought Donnie Darko was actually an Arrow product, if you know what I mean.
Well, Donnie Darko is an Arrow product, yeah.
Yeah, but it's got 101 Films, which is a completely different company.
Ah, right, okay.
Yeah.
They've got on the website.
Because you've got Arrow Films for Battle Royale, which is correct. That's right.
Version, so...
Yeah, who knows?
Anyway, basic upshot is there's a special edition of Donnie Darko. I know that because I saw that. All right, so shall we go on to what we've been watching? So I'll kick off. I've been watching a show that I had a lot of misconceptions about.
I'm interested to hear about this because I've thought about giving this a bit of a watch recently.
Yeah, and this show has been going on for 8 years or
Yeah.
so.
Has it come to a close though?
No, they've got the new season at the moment.
Oh, have they? Okay.
Yeah,
I wondered.
and
I thought I
it's
saw that this was
Brooklyn.
given the elbow by the American producers.
Well, maybe it's after this season.
Yeah.
But it's Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So this is a comedy series following the exploits of Detective Jake Peralta and his diverse set of colleagues as they police the NYPD's 99th precinct. So this is actually starring Andy Samberg, who was in Cuckoo season 1, which I talked about, and the movie you talked about last time you were on the show, Palm Springs, which I watched and really enjoyed it as well.
Yeah,
that was a very Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
It's also got Andrea Broger from City of Angels and Law and Order and Special Victims Unit, or the Andromeda Strain sort of fame as well. I was always put off about this because I just thought this was just another cop show like Law and Order and all of those sorts.
It's more of a comedy though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a comedy, and it's quite a wacky, offbeat kind of comedy. I found that this show, it's one of those shows I don't think you can really get much offence from, because the jokes are well paced, they're generally not offensive, and I would suggest, if I was to give it a balance, think of the Community with Chevy Chase and all of those lot. It's kind of like that meets Hill Street Blues.
Right.
It's like if they had a love child, it'd be Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So I'm only on season 2 at the moment, and let's put it this way: my wife has the attention span of a goldfish on most things that I like, but we have been finding common ground on stuff to watch, and she sat and watched 8 episodes on the trot of this.
Are they sort of
25 minutes?
Yeah, so they're half an hour with ads if they had ads. Yeah.
But it's just a nice, gentle sort of comedy, about some daft exploits that American cops in NYPD get up to. Can't say NYP because that'd be North Yorkshire Police. NYPD. Aye. Don't get that up here, lad. So yeah, if I reckon that you'll probably enjoy this, Mark.
Yeah, I'll give it a whirl. See before next week.
It's sort of stupid, but it's stupid for a reason, isn't it?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
Well, Andy Samberg has got Saturday Night Live history. He's done that. So good comedy kind of pedigree there, really.
You can tell that this was quite well thought of in America because of some guest stars who have started to appear.
Yeah.
When you see one of the Desperate Housewives suddenly appear as the new love interest and stuff like that, that's when when you think, yeah, okay, this show's obviously the people are liking it, sort of thing.
If you remember in Palm Springs, there's the old guy that hunts him, Roy.
Mm-hmm.
The actor that plays Roy is also in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I think, as well. I don't know whether he's still in it, but I think it's on his IMDb.
Yeah, I'm sure, because I think there was some other people who were from. He's
an older guy, isn't he?
Yeah, but it's just a really, really good comedy. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was watching it, a bit more of it again today. I also started watching that Jupiter Legacy, if you've seen that on the Netflix.
No, I haven't watched it, but
it's sort of like a bit. It's not like The Boys, but it's about superheroes, but sort of like about their problems being a superhero and trying to live up to what they're supposed to live up to in the public eye, which was quite interesting. I'll talk more about that another show. Another show that I've been watching is Bloods. So this is a new comedy on Sky which follows the lives of an ambulance depot and its crew. It's got a few famous English people in there. So we've got Jane Horrocks from Absolutely Fabulous and Trolleyed, Adrian Scarborough from Gavin and Stacey, Julian Barat from Mighty Bosch, and Lucy Punch from Doc Martin, Hot Fuzz, and Dinner with the Schmucks, to name a few of them. So it's got a really good sort of cross-section of English comedy kind of talent. I've been really looking forward to this. I've seen a lot of adverts for it on Sky, all that sort of stuff. Really perked my interest because, we all know what a fantastic job that the ambulance service does, generally speaking, anyway. And I just thought, if you could get a comedy about the ambulance service, it could really highlight the good work that they sort of do, and put them in a really good positive sort of thing, and it'd be a good comedy. And I've got to say, boy, I was wrong. It's awful.
Really?
Really, it is absolutely terrible. The jokes fell so flat for probably 99% of the time, with a lot of them being, personally, I feel really inappropriate. It's like there's too many jokes about people grieving and over lost relatives and suicide and stuff like that. And it might be me because I work in safeguarding, and I don't like personally jokes about people who take their own life. It's just to me, it's a taboo area. You just don't make jokes of, or you have to be exceptionally careful to make any sort of joke like that. And it all fell flat with me, and it fell very flat with my wife as well. We sat there and we watched all of the episodes, but I think it was more because we just couldn't be bothered to change the channel. But I noticed within 10 minutes we were both on our iPads and it was in the background, and we occasionally glanced up and looked at each other and said, did they actually say what I just thought that they said? It wasn't, oh my God, that was so funny at any point. It was just sort of like, really? Oh, this is awful. Jane, she went to bed after about 3 episodes. I just sat and, to be fair, I was playing my Mahjong on my iPad. So I wasn't really concentrating on the show. That I was listening to it, but not really watching it. But I did not enjoy it. It gets very struck into stereotypes, and it tries too hard to be funny and isn't. And ultimately, I've got to say, it has no saving graces, and I really, really hope that the return for season 2 is cancelled.
Wow.
If that's not a damning commendation for it, then I don't know what is, but awful. Just avoid it. And I'm so sad to say that as well.
Yeah, like you say, with a good cast, you would hope for more, really, wouldn't you?
I would have thought for a laugh.
Yeah.
But obviously sometimes that can fall flat, like you said, maybe.
Yeah, it's all down to the script at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah. And, we know from Afterlife that you can do comedy about horrible subjects. Sensitive.
Yeah.
But you've got to be a brilliant writer. Ricky Gervais, whether or not you like him or not, is a brilliant writer of comedy. And, Afterlife is brilliant. There's no other way to describe it. This is
trash.
This is a dog turd you walk in that nobody cleaned up off after themselves, I'm afraid.
Well, at least you could say that they're in the middle of shooting Afterlife 3 at the moment, so that'd be interesting to see where the story goes with that.
Can't wait for that. Really can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Good.
So, Mark, do you want to go with the Breakfast Club?
Yeah, we were sitting one night, just kids were asleep, and Claire said, do you want to watch a movie? And we were flicking through, and she said, do you fancy watching The Breakfast Club? And I was totally shocked. She's only seen it once.
Oh, really?
And that was when, a couple of years ago, they brought it back, a limited run at the cinema. And it's my favourite movie of all time.
Oh, really?
And yeah, very much so. And we went to see it, and that's the only time she's seen it. So we watched it again in the week, and I still sort of sit there sometimes, jaw open, totally immersed in it. I don't know what it is about that movie, the writing or what have you. And it is, some people may see it as a kind of 80s brat pack, stupid teenager.
Well, they weren't actually. To be honest, they're not even really a brat pack because they've all done very well separately anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah,
mean,
Yeah,
very
but
much
they
so.
were the Brat Pack at the
They
time.
were at the time, yeah.
yeah.
Emilio Estevez, Molly Ringwald, Judd Nelson, you know, Anthony Michael Hall,
Ali
Ali
Sheedy.
Sheedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, they're all of
So
that.
every time
era.
you say that film, and in my head, I'm hearing The Simple Minds, which I say
Yeah,
that's now been put
totally.
off to next year. That song is in my brain as we speak.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's just I think it's such a complete movie, and we watched it again and just totally blown away by it every time. And I can't say that about every movie, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
some of my other favourites.
It's funny. I've got quite a few of those movies. I mean, I've actually got the Arrow version of 16 Candles. I don't know if you've seen that one.
Yeah.
With Molly Ringwald. And,
yeah.
Have you got the Ronnie Corbett 4 Candles one?
Yeah, I know, that's it. Yeah. Thought you'd bring that one up, but no, there's some good. They're good movies, and
yeah, Pretty in Pink is another one.
Yeah, that's another favourite of mine. But Some Kind of Wonderful, which I don't think a lot of people might know of.
I don't think I've seen that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Honestly, check that one out because that's in the same frame as well. Yeah. Ho, ho, ho. But yeah, so Some Kind of Wonderful has got the guy in it that didn't end up being Martin McFly.
Didn't end up being.
Yes, he did it the first morning, didn't he?
Yeah, he did it the first morning and got the boot. Yeah, but
because mind you, he did play in The Fly too.
As well, he did.
Who are we talking about?
The ginger-haired guy.
I'm going to just kind of quickly look.
James Spader, someone like that.
No.
Trying to think who else would be around at that era.
1 second, it's just booting up now. So,
Eric Stoltz.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in that you've also got Mary Stuart Matterson in that, and you've got Lee Thompson in it.
Nice.
It's a good 80s teen film that came out at the time.
See, for me, the 80s movie for me was Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah, that's the other one. Yeah, that's a good movie as well.
Yeah, I mean,
See,
that and Weird Science as well. They're all, you know.
But Weird Science is Anthony Michael Hall again who is also in The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, and as I say, the guy that plays the guy on the motorbike, the baddie near the end, he was in Mad Max too.
Yeah,
but
they all got about, but then I suppose it's much in the same way actors do nowadays, really.
I think it's all down to John Hughes, isn't it?
He wrote and directed it. One thing Claire said when we were after we watched it is she said it would make a good stage play because it's quite limited in terms of set. You know, you're in a school library really for 90% of the movie.
Well, maybe
but apparently John Hughes at the time was asked to write a stage script for it, and he did, just for kind of more for schools, really. I don't know whatever happened to that, but yeah, that's been my.
But there's some great characters like from those movies, like Ducky Boy. I did like him.
Yeah, and who's now? I don't know whether they're still making it, but he's the same guy that's in 2.5 Men, isn't he?
Oh, is he really?
Yeah. With Ashton, now it's Ashton Kutcher, isn't it? But...
Yeah. No, they've a lot of those films. They've all, they've all moved on with different stuff that they did, especially those, there's the, Weekend at Bernie, for example, another couple of movies they did.
Yeah, funny.
I'll tell you another movie, St. Elmo's Fire.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, that was another. But I think a lot of them were the same, weren't they? In that, or
same.
There was some overlap. Emilio Estevez was Rob Lowe. Yeah. Andrew McCarthy, Demi Moore, Judd Nelson.
Yeah, I think John Hughes got a lot to answer for, and people don't know how many movies that he got involved in.
And John Hughes sadly died quite young as well. I think he was only in his 50s, if I'm right, late 50s. And where would he have gone from there?
Yeah, because he was involved with National Lampoon's Vacation, believe it or not, some of that. So you look at his resume, what he got up to with Uncle Buck, for example, as well. Home Alone series.
Planes, Trains and Automobiles.
Yeah,
one of my favourite ones. That's
absolutely brilliant.
But I haven't seen Breakfast Club in a donkey's, and maybe I think I've still got it somewhere kicking around.
Yeah, it's great. Refresh your memory.
Oh God, yeah. But then you start watching the rest of them as well.
Yeah. You kind of rabbit hole, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
Easily done.
Okay.
Tell us about Rollercoaster, Steve.
So this came out. If you look at Internet Movie Database, it would class it as a disaster movie. In the same vein as you've got the airport movies and Earthquake. Although this is more of a thriller, so what you've got is...
Is this the 77 or the 99 one?
1977, the original.
Right.
So the cast in it, you've got George Segal, who recently has just passed away. You've got Richard Widmark, you've got Henry Fonda, Harry Gardino, and there's a very, very young Helen Hunt in this.
Wow.
Who I didn't realise until I watched it this time round, because I've got the Blu-ray from 101 Films, which has got the uncut version as well. And basically what we've got here, we've got a blackmailer threatening to sabotage roller coasters around the country if he's not paid a huge ransom. And I just love this movie. It's a typical 70s. I think a lot of things come out of this movie. So the idea of cops being told to run around on little jaunts. I think Dirty Harry did something similar with him going around with a bag of money, for example. All these sort of ideas crop up. And the main character, which is George Segal, which is Harry Calder, he's the inspector for the roller coasters. And what happened is there's a big disaster at the beginning of the film, which you're aware is down to putting a bomb on the track. And he's there trying to find out what's going on with it. And he gets involved because the guy that's planting these bombs actually takes a shine to him. So he gets put into this situation that he wouldn't expect him to be into. And it's a very good thriller with a typical outcome, shall we say. And for me also, there's a great little cameo in this, because where you get near to the end of the movie, there's one big new roller coaster that's been opened up in this big park, and everybody's raving about this new roller coaster. And they have some bands there on this like stage below it, and you've got Sparks doing their little concert underneath it. Originally it was going to be Kiss, but they decided, I don't know for the reason, Kiss couldn't be available for this, but it's a really good typical 70s thriller. I really enjoy it. I need to try and get Mrs. to watch it, because I don't think she's seen it, because she's not keen on watching old movies, but I am. But it's well worth a visit if you're into those sort of movies. And say 101 Films do a great transfer of it, which I picked up the special edition for it.
Very good.
But it came out at the same time as Star Wars, believe it or not.
Yeah, Star Wars, yeah. 77.
Yeah, and it may seem a bit dated, but for me it's not at all. I think it just shows what at the time was going on. Yeah, really good.
Fantastic.
Cool.
Okay, shall we...
Yeah, let's move on to our listener questions.
John, what's happening to us?
All right, so Mark's back to doing his Malkovich.
I did put one earlier when I was doing the notes.
So I'm going to let you ask the question, Mark.
Well, when I was playing MLB, it got me thinking, do you play different games depending on either the season or the weather, or whether it's a holiday season like Christmas or what have you? Because I think I, to an extent, do. I think I'm more likely, like in the summer, I'll usually download a cricket game and have a bit of a bat around. And
yeah, because I like to play with my balls, as you know, and I'll probably download a tennis game.
Yeah, or tennis. Yeah.
When Wimbledon comes up, I've got a couple of tennis games of late that I will probably re-download it. And
I was going to say, it's a genre that it's been lacking recently, isn't it? A decent tennis game.
Well, there is a couple that came out. I can't think which one I've got now, but I do have one of these two that came out pretty close to each other.
I bet it's probably Mario Tennis and he's got it on his secret switch.
Yeah.
His secret switch. I like the sound of that.
Saucy. But back in the day for the Xbox, it was down to Topspin.
Topspin was a great game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Rockstar table tennis game as well?
Yeah.
That wasn't Topspin though, was it?
No, that was a tennis game.
That was just table tennis. Whereas Topspin was an actual tennis game. Yeah, it's quite good as well.
Table tennis and tennis are two different sports, by the way.
Yes, I had realised because I have played both.
Yeah, but table tennis was made by the creators of Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, Rockstar.
Yeah.
But the kind of at the time, the sort of unique element of the Rockstar game is you didn't have a player as such, did you? You controlled the bat more, if I remember rightly.
Wasn't this a 360 release title? I remember rightly, maybe.
Rockstar, table tennis was, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's in my library. You can play it on the Xbox now. You can download it still. It's one back compatible.
Yeah. But I used to play back in the day. You usually say about the season, even going back to the Sega consoles I used to own then. I used to always play at Wimbledon or table tennis. You got me at it now. A tennis game at Wimbledon time.
Same here, yeah. And even like you say with the snooker, the World Championships were on.
Yeah.
You boot up your snooker game, don't you?
Exactly. And then when you had the World Cup, we had the FIFA World Cup games, didn't we?
Yeah. I think it's almost done subconsciously sometimes. You don't necessarily
think you're doing it.
Think about it. You just think, oh, I've been watching that. I'll play this now.
Yeah. And I think the last World Cup, I think they threw in the FIFA World Cup version for free because you own FIFA.
Yeah, I know they. Was that the World Cup or was that the Euro they did?
One or the other. It might be World Cup. I'm not too sure.
I can't remember either. But yeah, they have done like free updates as well. But it was just something playing MLB. Maybe I'll stop playing it when we come to the winter. Maybe I won't. I don't know.
Yeah, well, just get that FIFA downloaded so we can have a crack at that.
Yeah.
I think it's quite clearly you obviously play sports games at the appropriate times of the year.
And FIFA's all year round though. Obviously. November through to May on when they get released.
Okay, well let's move on to Paul Wilson's question then. So Paul's asking, before the internet took grip of all gaming news, how much did you used to spend on computer magazines, and which ones were your favourites? For him, his favourites in the past were Crash on a ZX Spectrum, Computer and Video Games, Amiga Format, Micromart, and the Edge magazine. He must admit that he did read the vast majority of the others available gaming magazines during his lunch hour at W.A. Smith's.
Nice.
Yeah, I remember the Amiga format because I did have an Amiga at the time.
Yeah, same here.
And obviously, back in the day with the old early Sega consoles, there was a magazine that was, I think it was a Sega magazine that you had.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at when Sonic the Hedgehog came out, they were at the back. There was like a few of the runs to show you how they went.
Yeah.
Showed
you all the secret rooms.
Like
that. Yeah. In the days when games had cheat codes and things like that.
and you bought that cheat cartridge you could get as well.
Yeah, the Action Replay cartridge on the
Amiga.
Right. Yeah. I used to get Zap 64.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Never bought
and I even had the very first edition of it as well.
Wow.
And it had Elite on it. Surprise, surprise.
One of your favourites.
One of my favourites. Yeah, not Elite Dangerous. It was just Elite.
The original Elite, yeah.
Yeah. I went on to... I occasionally got CVG. Got Amiga Format. That was always a real popular one for me when I got the Amiga. PC Format as well. Started to go on to that. Used to get the PlayStation magazine.
Yeah.
The Xbox magazine.
Yeah.
Play, I think there was a PlayStation magazine that I used to buy occasionally.
Yeah,
was just called Play, I believe.
I never really got into Edge magazine. That was
no,
one
me
I
neither.
never got into.
It's quite highbrow, isn't it? I think.
But I think that was more of a like if you say, for example, Empire magazine was for movies. I think Edge was for gaming, and that sort of class.
Yeah. I used to get Crash now and again, CVG, definitely Play.
It was Game Master was another one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I used to get
Master, that. Yeah. Crash was good. I like that. And Games Master was tied to the TV program, wasn't it? At the time.
It was.
Dominic Diamond.
And Patrick Moore.
Yeah. Patrick Moore was the Games Master.
Yeah, he was, and also the presenter of the longest running presenter of a factual TV program in the world.
Sky at Night.
Yeah.
God, that goes back to the black and white era.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's actually 50s or just early 60s, but
50s, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I used to watch the Sky at night. I used to love it. I think it's still on, but I never know when it's on now.
No, me neither. Shall
but-
we do the next one?
Yeah. Who wants to do the next one?
Okay, Scott Kidd asks, if money the root of all evil,
What would
I'm
the world
assuming-
be like if
what
there
would the
wasn't
world
money?
be like now if money was not even to be? So what would the world be like if there was no
Star
money?
Trek.
Is that what he's asking?
Yeah, basically,
What would
if
it
we
be
didn't
like
have money,
if money didn't exist?
Yeah, and what would be the root of all evil?
Well, there'd be some sort of currency, wouldn't there?
Well, you'd have to have a barter system of some sort.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. If you went from the life we have now and took money away, how would it be?
You wouldn't have a lot, would you?
Still,
It'd be anarchy, is what it'd
it
be.
would. It may. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it would be bedlam and mayhem and anarchy, like you say. Yeah.
But I think it's an interesting thought what you're saying about sort of like Star Trek, Steve, because when you think about it, it actually means that the Star Trek universe, everyone's a communist.
Yeah, I suppose so.
They're working for nothing.
But it works,
Yeah.
though. They've got there isn't greed, there isn't the want.
No,
There's the purpose to live and do better for yourself.
and others.
It's
yeah.
that whole Maslow's hierarchy of needs and trying to get to level 5, which is self-actualization, which is technically you should never be able to achieve it.
I don't know. If you lived in a world where there'd never been money, then you probably would have some. I think you'd have to evolve some kind of currency. I just couldn't imagine how.
But even if you were in a
It'd be
stone
trade,
age,
wouldn't it?
yeah,
You'd still, you still need things that other people had in the same way that they would need things that you've got. You know,
we trade with sheep and cows and
Yeah. Or for when was it the Gorga Frinchums crash landed on Earth on Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and they used leaves.
yeah, there's plenty of them around, so you're never short.
yeah.
Yes, unfortunately, inflation went through the roof, and they had to go through an extensive amount of deforestation.
Okay, so Nicky Wilson, yeah?
Yeah.
So Resident Evil 8 Village has only 187 megabits on the disc. So they're glorifying download codes in a box, and you can't play the game without the internet connection. Should this be allowed?
Now, there's a bit of a background to this, because on the Facebook page, just like
explain
20 odd.
Explain to me, yes.
Yeah, so Randall, I forgot what Randall's surname is, but it's a pseudonym anyway. But Randall mentioned something about this, and Nicky was engaged in a conversation as well. Basically, what Nicky's asked, from what I can understand of what Nicky was asking, was about the thing of digital heritage and the fact that if you're buying a game like this and it's not on the disc and you've got to download it, that means in 25 years, if you want to play the game, you're not going to be able to install it on your old system because you have to download it.
Yeah.
And it might not be there. And it then skewed off into a whole argument about playing online and whether or not stuff should be always online or not online. And as Nicky also very rightly said, and I said in the chat as well, about, there is the thing of, in some places, people don't have the internet connection to be able to download 50 megabytes gigabytes of information
Yeah, of course not.
without it taking the whole month because they've got slow internet connections. And I mean, for example, my friend who was my best man at a wedding, he lives on a farm, and he lives on a big farm. His farm's like miles and miles of fields, and his farmhouse is a mile down a track away from the main road, which is in itself about a mile away from the nearest village. So he's like, God knows how far away from an exchange. And if he's watching Netflix in SD and his wife downloads the email, it knocks the Netflix off. So, even in this country, there isn't such fantastic internet connection. It's actually quicker if he connects it on his mobile.
Yeah, I was just about to say it's almost worth getting 4G or 5G internet.
So I think there's a couple of different points of view, but I think Nick's main question here was about, is it right for them to just put effectively an initiation code on the disc that you then have to download the whole game from the internet for.
Yeah, that has happened before. This isn't the first time.
No.
But I think it's out of order, if I'm honest.
I
really.
agree.
I think it's like we were saying about Sony earlier. I don't think it's going to win any fans, is it?
But but everyone does it, so it's never frowned upon too much, is it?
Well, no, because normally you're installing from the disc, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not. It's not just a key that unlocks the license from the internet.
Well, you go back to the
download.
generation. You go back to the generation before last, the 360. The game was on the disc normally, and you played the game from the disc. Xbox One, PlayStation 4 and onwards, the game was installed to the hard drive.
Yeah.
And that's where it all started to go wrong, because that then gave them the whole thing of, we just download it.
But I think initially, though, it was installing as a requirement because it was quicker to run it from the hard drive. And the disc speed wasn't quick enough to run the game, was it?
Yeah, and that's the whole thing, is that nowadays, because of the requirements of the games cannot be run from the optical media because the optical media pickup is too slow. And this generation, the whole thing about having the SSDs is that the hard drives are too slow. But what it's meant in reality is it's opened a door for game producers to do this. And that means that in 25 years' time, no, you're not going to be able to download that.
So I have not, without turning it on now, I could do. Do we know the actual file size that you download?
It's about 50 gig or so, I think.
Not sure. It would depend on the system, I suppose, slightly. But
well, obviously, if you're going to buy a standard, you're going to buy the standard Xbox version compared to the 4K version that there'll be. Same, we had that with FIFA. When FIFA originally came out, it was a standard edition, and then we got the upgrade to the eye-popping version of it for FIFA. It made a bit of difference.
What's the file size?
Just try to find out.
Oh, I see. I thought you knew rather than.
Well, no, I was just saying because I'm just going to turn mine on. But this is the thing, isn't it? Whether or not that would be on a disc anyway.
50.02 gigabytes.
What sort of CD was that? It was Blu-ray disc or whatever that disc was.
No, that's download because it's not on the disc.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, what is the limit on that disc anyway if you to have it on the game?
Well, on the HD Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray discs, it's 100 gigabytes, isn't it?
Yeah, but it wouldn't be that, would it? If you're going to put it in a standard, it'd have to be a Blu-ray.
Well, Blu-rays are over 50, I think 50 or 60.
Yeah.
But then also, is there a day one or an update?
So I'm looking at the game installed on my hard drive, 30.2 gigabytes.
30 gig.
Yeah.
So that would fit on a standard Blu-ray anyway. Easily.
Yeah, a dual layer Blu-ray is 50 gig.
Yeah. And that's got two add-ons, which I presume is to do with the, extra bits.
I think that's poor, really, that it isn't on the disc.
I agree.
I think it's just lazy.
Why produce it in the first place?
In a production.
You didn't need a disc. You could have just put a code in a box.
Yeah.
And then save yourself the actual disc.
Or just do it. Why not just do it? Just sell it digitally. What's the point of? It's because they're not going to reach the market digitally, isn't it?
I mean, in terms of this, why not say very clearly on the box, disc does not contain game?
I think they do sometimes, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, we went on to a whole debate about it being online because according to the box, it says it requires an internet connection to play. Now, you've got it, Steve. I don't know whether or not you'd be able to test it on your Xbox, but I tested it on my PC, and I can play without an internet connection once I've downloaded it.
I have not tried that in a while, but yeah, because obviously of late, games that have been played that have been the internet connection with Destiny and that. But yeah, I'm sure you can. I know there was some Game Pass games that didn't like it. You didn't have an internet connection.
Well, that's because of Game Pass as well. But in terms of something that
is slightly something that should change, because that is also another issue.
Yeah.
If the internet, if the whole world goes down with the internet, what can you play on your machine anyway?
Look at Christmas several years ago when PlayStation and Xbox both went down for a couple of days over Christmas.
Over the DDoS attacks, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not good that there is this over reliance on internet, but
I mean,
it's convenient at the same time.
yeah, but I mean, just almost from a sort of the opposite perspective, surely someone with that poor internet connection isn't going to be gaming anyway, not on consoles.
Well,
not really.
I don't know.
Not on a modern console because you do need one to play.
But they are, because my friend, he's got two sons and they both have Xboxes and a PC and they do gaming on it. They
with
just
a poor internet connection.
Yeah, and it just it is actually sometimes what they would do is Wayne would take his son's Xboxes round to his mother-in-law's and download them at his mother-in-law's and bring them back, because it would be days quicker than actually downloading over the internet.
These days, even in America, there are places that don't have the greatest internet connection.
No.
Even more so across the pond.
And when I was talking to Nick today, that's what he was saying, is that some of his friends in America, someone who he streams with, is in that exact sort of situation. I mean, the simple fact of the matter is, this is a very first world sort of problem.
Yeah.
And it's only a problem now in the last two generations of video games, because before that, the game had to be on the disc because there wasn't the digital delivery. But the digital delivery is what has caused the problem now.
It makes you wonder whether they actually look at it as what percentage of our market is this going to affect? You know, whether they actually look into that and see
but they're not
how much of an issue it would be in terms of potential sales. I don't know.
But they're not thinking about it from the digital preservation sort of side, because Nick's a retro gamer. So in 25 years' time, Resident Evil 7 Village is going to be a retro game. And if he's still doing streaming, I presume he would stream that as a retro game. But that would prohibit him from doing it because of all of the technical issues about downloading it, because it's not on that disc. And that's, I think, where he's coming from.
And you can't prove that you actually ever owned it. If you were 20 years later, can you prove that?
Well, yeah, you've got the disc, haven't you?
Yeah, no, but the disc is useless.
Yeah, but so will a console be, because you won't be able. I doubt very much that in 25 years' time.
Anyway.
No, there probably won't be, but I doubt in 25 years' time we'll be connecting. If there is consoles, we would be connecting an Xbox Series X or a PS5 to the network.
No.
It'd probably be implanted into your brain on a lead into your head or something, wouldn't it, though, then?
But the other side of this happening is encouraging people to buy digitally, I suppose. And not buy the disc at all. But
that is assuming that they carry on with the forward compatibility.
Yeah.
Because Microsoft is currently committed to that. It only takes one person changing in that chain of instruction and somebody in an influential position that could change that whole thing tomorrow.
But I think, but Microsoft know they're onto a good thing with that, and how they've operated this, and it's been really good to do what they've done, to keep hold of your games the way you have, and to still say you've owned them, that you can download them for free.
Yeah. But I'm right in thinking, though, that even on the Xbox backward compatibility, that is still, the onus is still on the developers, isn't it? It's not all the publishers of the game. It's not necessarily down to Microsoft as to whether it appears on their list or not.
No,
it's down to Konami or whoever it happens, Capcom.
But they do make an effort to make sure that they ask these companies that, can we do this? And I think they will want to do it because it's a revenue at the end of the day, isn't it?
You would think, but I have recently come across games that are not, that I thought would be, and just I found in the loft, plugged them into my Xbox One, and it's not working. It's not on the list. And that was I think that was a Konami game.
Yeah.
So
and that's the thing. Then you've got to have that console. But But again, going back to what Nick said, in that situation in the future with that game and that console, unless you've already got the game installed on that console to play it, you're not going to be able to then connect and download it. But I suppose another way of looking at it as well is, how many remasters of that game are there going to be in the next 25 years?
True, yeah.
Who would have thought
if the demand is there for any game, it will be remastered and resold, won't it? Really, they'll make a bit of money off of it again.
And the important thing to remember as well is we have come because of the way the technology has been all this time that we buy a game, we own that game. You don't own a game, you never own a game. You buy a license to use it, and in the terms and conditions of that license, they can take away that support whenever they want. And that's the thing of like games like Destiny, games like Fortnite, all of these, the Marvel Avengers, all of those sort of online games. Call of Duty is a perfect example of it as well, where that can be removed from us at any point. And that's it. All that money that we've spent, the hundreds of pounds that Steve and I have spent over the years on keeping Destiny up to date, is gone.
And the other thing, talking of the remasters, that happens usually is exactly what's happening, and you guys are getting excited about with Mass Effect. You get remastered collections or legendary editions.
But then I've still got my Mass Effect original disc.
And you can still play that, I'm assuming.
Yeah, you can put it in there and you can download a version of it straight to your console.
Yeah.
But you still have to have the disc to be able to do that.
Exactly, yeah.
Or the digital copy.
I don't know when you
can buy it separately if you want to, obviously, as well. So
I was just about to say, can you buy 360 games still digitally on the store, can't you? Can you do that with Mass Effect? I don't know whether they're still
that's
all
it.
there.
I mean, if I go to my list now, Mass Effect, the Xbox 360 versions are sitting there.
I bet you probably find, Mark, that you've actually got it free in there anyway.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I'm sure they've given away all of the Mass Effect games over the last 6 years.
Yeah.
Since backward compatibility started being a thing.
Should we go to Justin Lee?
Yeah, so I'll do Justin. So I keep seeing stuff online and in the games media about whether Sony can and should respond to Xbox Games Pass. But really, what is the point of even trying? Let Xbox drive the Netflix style of gaming and have the Sony concentrate on what they do well, which is story-based games like Horizon Zero Dawn, Last of Us, God of War, etc. Both are equally good and valid models, and I suspect both will be wildly successful. Sony is tiny in comparison to Microsoft, so why do people think that they can compete in who spends the most money's stakes? Do you think Sony should do a Game Pass type thing, or should they play to their strengths?
Well, the fanboys would like to see something like that, wouldn't they?
I'm going to argue that Sony do a not as good Game Pass type thing already.
PlayStation Now.
Got it in one.
Yeah.
It's an out-of-date version of Game Pass, but it does basically the same thing, and it does it with more games. There's 600 games on there. There's, 150 on Game Pass at the most?
I think they keep 100 at a time, don't they? I think.
So, I don't think it ever exceeds 150.
I mean, about saying they're both good and valid models, I think they are at the moment, just about. But I think the one that is the model that's far more future-proof is the Game Pass model. I think it's all very well having the standout exclusive story-based games, but I think because people are tending to dip into games, switch from game to game a bit more freely now, does make me wonder. I think that whole kind of follow a story, almost like you're watching a movie, playing out a movie to the end and then have that reward, I don't think is as... I don't know. I don't think that style of game is in demand, by the gamers as much now as it used to be. But I think online gaming has a lot to do with that. Multiplayer. When you had less online gaming, I think your stories, as well as good as they are in Horizon Zero Dawn and Last of Us, that kind of game, I think they're becoming less common now, aren't they?
There's always a lot of games that we do love that are single player. They do try to tag on an online parts of it that because they think they have to. They don't have to.
No, I agree.
And they sometimes don't work. I think one of the Bioshock ones was probably to prove the point.
And Fallout 76. although you were.
Well, someone's got to tell me that otherwise at the minute.
Yeah,
what do I know?
There was a post on Facebook,
I
wasn't
did
there?
see that. Yeah.
Telling Steve you should pick it up again.
Well, at some point, maybe I will. I've still got the disc.
I got that as a digital code with my 1X, and I've still not. I don't know whether I have downloaded it, but I don't know whether I ever booted it up, if I'm honest. And I quite enjoy Fallout 4.
Well, I just started playing it again with mods, and I'm enjoying it. So
Fallout 4.
Yeah.
You mean? Yeah.
And with mods, it's more fun. I've already claimed the story, so
yeah.
I'm doing the DLC at the moment.
I think on this as well is occasionally they do a few indie games, and they've actually had some quite good ones on. One's just gone off. That's that moving one. I've forgotten what it was called.
Moving up. Was it
moving up, something like, or moving out. Moving out. Yeah. That one was quite enjoyable. And another one, which I think it was Lee Doherty who said that he'd given it a try after playing it, and I think another couple of people have got in contact with me and said what a cracking game it is Rain on Your Parade. Because it's actually the whole premise is you're a rain cloud and you rain on people, and it sounds ridiculous, but it's actually great fun.
I've downloaded that on your recommendation, and I've not tried it yet. But
you've not tried it.
I've not tried it yet. I have tried it. No, it's sitting there staring at me every time I choose something to play, and I end up going to baseball.
if you know what I mean, that's one of those really gentle sort of chill out games.
Yeah. But you can do that with a ball.
Or the sea.
Yeah.
The ocean.
Steve's obsessed by balls, all I can say.
Hey.
Right. Did you give your thoughts on the Sony, Steve?
Yeah, well, I think I'm not anti-Sony at all. Probably may think I'm not at all. But I think they should go down that route. I think they should do. I think there's a good market for it, and I think Microsoft's numbers have proved it works very well. So, but then Sony are stubborn. So there's two old codgers in the corner that don't like it, and that is Sony in the corner, unfortunately. What can you say?
I've got to say, Steve, in response to what you've just said, is who are you and where is Steve?
So yeah, I got my. What's the latest PlayStation game for free then? I know we said about it earlier, but I need to. Isn't it Horizon Zero Dawn coming out on that? Isn't it?
They haven't announced the next month yet, have they?
No.
I don't think.
I think hasn't Horizon Zero Dawn already been out?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
The complete edition. That is such a cracking game on the.
But I do actually own that on myself anyway. I really own that one.
That's
See, don't get me wrong. Sony have got. I mean, I like the Persona games Sony have done, and Final Fantasy and stuff like that, and they have done some good single player games that Haydn still hasn't played and finished. So
probably
like
not just Haydn 2, I should think. But
no, I have completed The Last of Us 2.
Yeah, I'm the other way around. I haven't completed Last of Us 2, but I have completed Last of Us. So the other way around. Yeah.
So there are lots of single player games that Steve hasn't completed.
I've got two to start as well, but
Have you played God of War yet?
Yeah, I've got halfway through that, and for some reason something pulled me away. Don't know what it was.
The missus?
No.
I like God of War. I think that the refresh of that, it was really good. Have you played that one, Mark?
No, one series. I did play the earlier ones, but I haven't played the refresh.
Okay, definitely worth a look.
Yeah.
Shall we go on to Alan's?
Sure.
Who's reading it?
Okay, I'll do it. So, Alan Cochrane, I was looking at. I was actually pre-doing this earlier.
I was just researching it now. Yeah.
No, I've already done my research.
Just to see if I'm missing anything.
There's nothing like doing your homework while a teacher sat there.
There's a couple here that I wanted to double check. So anyhow, he's asked us to name our favourite movies from each of these directors. So the first one, if we do this in order, we'll do it as we go. So Steven Spielberg, favourite movie?
God, it's tough.
I actually found Steven Spielberg to be the toughest one to do.
Yeah, because there's so many to choose from.
Because
you couldn't include Raiders because that was linked with George Lucas, so you probably may say, well,
can include Raiders because it's perfectly legit.
Okay, if you want, that's up to you. Well, I mean, what are you going to choose then? Not Raiders, but
all right. Well,
it won't be AT, will it?
Nah.
No, that was extra terrible. I'm going to say I loved Duel. Absolutely loved that film. That was.
I'm not changing. I've already decided from earlier on, and I'm going to stick with my answer. So.
But because the ones that were big contenders for me was Duel, Schindler's List, Raiders, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, The Terminal, and Minority Report.
And I haven't chosen any
Terminal.
Yours is Jaws, Steve.
Well.
I know
Mine
that.
is going to be Jaws. It will be, and that is a fact, absolute fact.
I knew it was. I said that. I'm going to say Duel, but the other ones are really close, especially Schindler's List.
I mean, there's some great films there.
Yeah.
His back catalogue now, should we say, is so big.
Yeah, I'm just looking through it now. It's crazy. Schindler's, Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
It's just too many.
I mean, Sugarland Express. Have you not seen that movie? That's a cracker.
Colour Purple.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a dinosaur. It's just, yeah, there's so much.
But you could say, I think we did a Spielberg top 10, didn't we, Hayden?
We did.
So, and that is.
I would want to revisit that one then because I'd forgotten that he'd done Duel.
That wasn't. I don't know if it was in our list, but you have to.
No, it wasn't. I don't think it was.
But Duel is up there anyway. But yeah,
just too many to choose from. I think.
From my first experience with Steven Spielberg, it probably was Duel at the time, but Jaws really just knocks it out of the park, and it's just one of those movies. I mean, progressing forward with Close Encounters of the Third Kind and whatever we put on our list before, it's not easy.
I've got to say, for me, after seeing it again after all of these years, that was the Duel of the Crown.
Hey.
Very good. Okay, so Mark, what's your choice?
For Spielberg?
Yeah.
I
can't choose, can you, really?
No. I mean...
Well, you're going to have to for this.
It would be one of the big ones like Raiders or Jurassic Park or something like that for me. Forrest Gump, didn't he do that? Did he do Forrest Gump? Am I wrong there?
Wasn't that Bill Zemeckis?
Robert Zemeckis?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I thought that was for some reason. But yeah, it would be one of the big blockbusters.
Okay,
for me.
Ridley Scott.
Alien.
Ridley Scott, possibly. Alien, the original Alien.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is very good. He did Thelma and Louise. I quite like that.
Yeah. I mean, you know what I'm going to go for, don't you?
No, I'm not sure on this one.
But it's my greatest sci-fi movie of all time. It's Blade Runner.
Oh, Blade Runner, yeah.
Blade Runner, yeah. Very good. Yeah, Blade Runner's very good.
As much as I love the Alien movies, don't get me wrong, but Blade Runner just knocks it out of the park again.
I'll tell you what, I was watching Sky the other day and Blade Runner was on, and I thought it'll be one of the rubbish versions, and it's a version that I like, the one with the Harrison Ford gumshoe voiceover, the original theatrical version. That's my favourite version of that movie.
Yeah.
Probably the most hated as well.
So next then we got Martin Scorsese.
Now
I've actually got mine ready to go again.
I'm probably out of all of them. That's my least familiar. I know that's probably a bad thing. But Goodfellas, didn't he do that?
He did, yes.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Casino.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, Scorsese is one of my least favourite directors. But I will go for Cape Fear.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
And that is very well, considering that's a remade from the original.
Yeah.
Very well put together. Also, Shutter Island, by the way. If you've not seen that, that's worth a look.
Yeah,
nice twist at the end on that.
I just don't like Scorsese movies generally.
Well, there's a Paul Newman one in there.
Yeah.
Is it in the trilogy?
Colour of Money. Okay, so interesting. The next one will be the Coen Brothers. I've got my one ready for that as well. So
go on.
I reckon I know which one you're going to say just to wind me up, and it'll be Raising Arizona.
It certainly is. I love that movie. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Knew it. Nicolas Cage, the only person who is more believable as a twig than a twig.
The Big Lebowski, Coen Brothers movie. That's good.
I'm going to say Fargo.
Yeah, classic film.
Bad Santa.
Yeah, well, it's a good one. So what was yours again? Mark?
The Big Lebowski, probably, for the Coen
So,
brothers.
That
Quentin
is a
Tarantino,
choice
right.
film, though.
So, interesting enough, the last one we got Quentin Tarantino. There's a few choices there to be had.
Yeah.
Mine is going to stick there always, and it always will do.
Pulp Fiction.
It will be.
I think I'm with you on that.
I
As
can
well.
watch that every day of the week.
Yeah,
Film.
same here.
I ain't
I think
going
it's
for
a
that
great
one.
movie. You're not going for that one, you say?
You can
No.
I thought we were going to have a unanimous then for a second.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to go with that one. I am going to go with Kill Bill Volume 1.
Yes,
I do like Kill Bill movies, but
And I was very close choosing Inglourious Bastards.
But no, I love Kill Bill because I have got a bit of a crush on Uma Thurman, to be honest. I really have.
Daryl Hannah is.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the.
Lady with the
That's
patch.
just fantastic. So clever that fight scene.
That's Kill Bill Volume 2, though.
Yeah,
In
but
the-
the one,
yeah, in the caravan.
the one in the kitchen at the beginning, in the woman's house when she goes round there, and the kids there as well.
Yeah.
Coming in, that's just. But Uma Thurman's brilliant, and yeah, but I say Pulp Fiction edges it for me.
Yeah, same here. I think Pulp Fiction is a little bit more classic. I think. No, I think it
And I want to go to Rabbit Jack Slim's place as well. I'd love to go there
was a teenage
Yeah.
wedding.
and have a $5 milkshake.
Yeah.
It's got everything in it.
Interesting, none of us said Sin City.
Yeah, well, actually, I've got one of the films sitting on my shelf that I need to watch. I know it's wrong to say it, I haven't watched it yet, but I've got one of his sitting there that I haven't watched yet.
I seriously still do hope that he does not do a Star Trek movie.
No, that there is, I say that has been moving quite forward, actually, isn't it? With Paramount at the moment.
Yeah.
But funny enough, funny if you say that. I don't often do it, but I was on Instagram the other day. I happened to catch Simon Pegg doing a question and answer while he was sitting in his lounge.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I mean, I think he had his kids there at the time he was chatting to as well. One of his kids and that. But yeah, it was good listening to him chat. Everyone's throwing questions at him, about Shaun of the Dead and stuff and bits and pieces and Mission Impossible and that. But, yeah, interesting.
Okay.
We've got one left.
Yeah.
Last one. Yeah.
Albert. Mark, do you want to do it?
Yeah, I'll do it. What are your feelings on simulation games built around real-world jobs or scenarios? For example, train simulator, construction simulator, farming simulator, bus simulator, etc. I tend to play them if they are on Game Pass or cheap on the store to get the achievement points. And
Nice one.
And then not much after that. I
Albert,
personally,
Albert,
they're chill-out games, aren't they? Really?
Yeah.
I've played Farming Simulator. I'm pretty sure I've played a bus simulator as
Go
well.
on, spit it out, Haydn. You're urging
Sorry,
to say
dude.
something.
No, I was just going to say, Albert, I admire the fact that you playing these games for achievements, but God, mate, there are better games to play for achievements.
Got to be more interesting ways.
Yeah.
Well, come on, we are waiting for the ultimate simulator in the summer.
Pandemic Simulator, Lockdown Simulator.
Flying planes.
What is it? You said?
Flying planes.
Oh yeah, Flight Simulator. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have a PC, you've already got that.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah. Whatever.
I haven't actually tried a farming
Master
simulator.
Race.
Yet. I haven't tried a farming simulator or the bus simulator. Though. I don't know.
I've tried Farming Simulator. Yeah. Ploughing a field with my tractor.
Mm.
You know.
Singing the Wurzels.
It doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah,
Does it? Gaming.
My son played a lot of Farming Simulator. What was it? Can't remember. Something like 17 and 18 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Because one of his best friends at school, who we used to go around to the house, owned the parents owned a farm, so it was sort of, his friend played it because he was then driving a tractor like his dad, and Adam would follow suit, sort of thing.
Mm.
But we know that Steve likes his trains.
I can't get into them seriously.
Well, it's just because I know the line very well because I used to do it. I used to travel that to football, and I used to travel for college, and it's spot on. It really is. And hitting the 125 from Reading to London Paddington was a joy.
Nice.
And also, you can't just leave it running. There's a dead man switch, so yeah.
Yeah. You have to keep your finger on the trigger.
But it's interesting. Even the slow ones that do the stop from stop to stop. hats off to the people that actually drive these things.
It does give you it must give you a connection if it is somewhere an area you know.
Mm.
You know.
In the station, when I go to the station I always start from, I start from Twyford, which is the station I used to use when I first moved to Twyford. And first thing I had to do was run around using trains all the time. Going into Reading, for example, or for college and for football. And so you're sitting there on the Reading train there, either going to Reading and getting the 125 for 2 stops, or actually sit through the whole stop section you've got to do, from there to Paddington.
Do you remember the game The Getaway?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was my last PlayStation 2 game before I went to Xbox.
It was set in London, and I remember my brother at the time, when I was living at home, was working in London, and he came by once when I was playing it and went, "Oh, I've had a pint in that pub," Well,
yeah, that's the thing.
You could see recognisable buildings in that game.
That's why I loved that game, because at that time I was in London a lot myself. So driving around Shoreditch and wherever through the city and whatever on the embankment. Yeah.
I can understand it would appeal if you're involved in that particular industry, whether it's farming or buses or what have you, I guess.
But then what's the other one? Is it Truck Simulator they do?
Yeah.
And my daughter's husband to be, shall I say, he was playing that. I said, really? He said, yeah. I was sitting out there, in his truck. I just think of I don't know what that image is there. So I was just thinking of Not Uncut News with I like trucking.
Yeah. Nice.
Mercy Six Alive looks like we've got us a convoy.
Rubber duck.
Yeah, they were good old games, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I find these sort of games I don't go for, even for achievements.
Come on, really? If there was an easy bunch to go for, and it would get you that little bit further to what you're always
even
going
if
for.
It only took an hour or something to get full achievements.
Well, he's done that with some of the other games that I've never touched.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but they're generally not that, Mind you, having said that, though, I've been stuck on achievements this month because I got to like 9,500 by the 3rd, and then I sort of I'm on 9,600 and something so far this month, and it's the 9th now.
Wow, you've stopped playing, surely.
Well, actually, yes, I went on to PC.
Because you go for double bubble, don't you? That's what you do.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, but a lot of the time, the saves will carry between, so you don't get double bubble.
Right.
Is it 10:11? You are kidding me.
No,
it's 10:11. I think it's time that we finish this up.
Let's
do
it.
All right. So, Steve, do you want to give your contact details?
So, Xbox gamer tag at Steve07. PSN ID is the real Steve07. Instagram is Steve07, I think 64 possibly, and same for my YouTube channel. So yeah.
And Mark?
On Twitter, I think I'm still Ace Plantman. On Instagram, I am Kitchen Smith with underscores either end. My email is mark@kitchensmith.co.uk. Mark spelt with MARC.
Okay, and for me, it's HERJUK on PSN, Xbox Live, Steam, and Twitter. Also YouTube. If you also want to get us on Epic, then it's Pop Culture Gamers. Don't forget the details for the show. On Twitter, it's Pop Culture Gamer. We have a Facebook group. We have a Facebook page. You can email podcast@popculturegamers.co.uk. You can visit our website, anchor.fm/popculturegamers. And don't forget to come and watch some of our videos on YouTube as well. The channel's not named yet, but just do a search for Pop Culture Gamers. And don't forget to like and subscribe. We need to hit that magic figure so that we can actually name the channel. And that's it for another week, another show. A very long show this time. It's very long, and that's what she said.
Well, actually, it isn't that long because we did have a little bit of mucking around before.
We had
but don't forget, we didn't click on record until we got onto this talk.
No.
So about 3.
Apologies for that. I'll sort it out, mate.
It's just one of them things. Skype is a mysterious thing sometimes.
Yep.
Anyway, guys, thank you both for coming along, and it's a good night from me.
And a good night from me.
And a good night from them.
Night.
Good night.